What is up, guys? It's Wire Guitars back here again with a replay analysis. I'm doing another one on Oracle. This one I plan to go way more in depth on the hero himself as opposed to just like general good supporting tactics, as I did last video, because man, I love this hero a lot. I have so much fun whenever I play him. He is by far my best support. I am going to make sure I turn down the volume. I'm gonna do that right now because man, I have so much to talk about and I want to make sure my mind's not getting we'll say bogged down in mindless Dota noise. So pause the game. As I said, as I always say at the start of every video, every game of Dota begins in the picking stage. However, as I said last video, I'm support, I'm first pick. You got to first pick a support, man. You don't want to screw over your team, right? You don't want to make your offlaner or your carry pick in the first phase. You definitely don't want to make your mid laner pick in the first phase. And it's just generally good pub practice to get into is if you're 4 or 5, if you're both 4, well, you can't be both, but if you're 4 or 5, you just pick in the first phase. Just do it. You just do it, man. You just do it. Sometimes you might be thinking to yourself, man, it'd be so sick if I can seal this Chen pick until like second phase. Nope, don't do it. At least I don't do it, and I don't recommend you do it for your pubs. Man, it's just really hard to coordinate good drafts with your with pubbies. Sometimes you will get like a core Queen of Pain, like a 3-position Queen of Pain that wants to pick in the first. Well, we saw this a lot happen. We saw this happen a lot last patch. Hasn't happened so much this patch, probably because Quap got nerfed a little bit. But sometimes like Queen of Pains or pucks that are planning to go off lane or even position 4, position 5 will pick in the first phase. You expect, like, I guess this only applies if they're going offlane, because if they're going position 4 or position 5, then they're the support, so they should be picking first phase. But maybe if you're going to be like an offlane Quap or an offlane Dragon Knight, we saw that happen a fair bit last patch. They'd pick in the first phase just because it's like a generically good hero, right? If I pick 4 DK, or if I pick 3 DK, or if I pick 2 DK, the hero can kind of fulfill all of those roles pretty well. A little bit with varying degrees of success. Certainly offlane Dragon Knight was pretty good last patch, and sometimes they'd pick first phase, and we would see that happen in pubs sometimes too. But I don't subscribe to that shit, man. I'm just gonna pick first phase, clear up all the ambiguity for my team. Like, hey guys, don't worry, I'll pick first phase. You guys can conceal your core picks, right? Oracle is a generically good support. I say this, I say this, and I do stand by this. You can pick him into anything. He is totally fine. You will always have a relevant button, right? Be it your disarm, which combos as 100% magic immunity, magic's spell damage immunity, does not give them crowd control resistance of any kind, but it does give you 100% magic damage resistance, which is usually good at least against 1 to 2 heroes on the enemy team. It's kind of hard to imagine an enemy team draft where they're all physical damage, but even if they are all physical damage, well, guess what? The other part of the spell also disarms people for quite a long duration, even longer than Heaven's Halberd on melee heroes. So that spell is going to be good pretty much every draft, no matter what, against or for somebody on their team or somebody on your team. Your Q, it's got a dispel. There's not very many basic dispels in the game ever since they changed Diffusal Blade to not give a purge anymore. It's like you can buy a Nullifier, you can buy a Yule Scepter. I think there's like one more form of dispel. I'm not going to go through the process of looking through the Necronomicon. Yeah, the tier 3 Necronomicon can purge. But outside of that, I'm pretty sure there's no items. Outside of those items, there isn't like a way of getting a dispel through items. So then you have to rely on hero-related dispels, of which there are very few, except for, but like Oracle is one of those few. And then obviously you supply a heal / burst damage. It's very, very low cooldown, so you are suddenly like a mid laner when it comes to your ability to supply on-demand magic damage very quickly. Like you could just burst people. It's pretty crazy. And of course, I don't need to tell you guys how False Promise is useful, because this spell, it's a strong dispel, so it dispels almost everything in the game, dispels stuns. It's literally 10 seconds of immortality. Does not matter unless you're against Axe and the target that you use it on is below Axe's threshold of health for him to Culling Blade. Same thing with Ancient Apparition. If they're low enough on their max HP, then they will get, I think, actually, I don't know if Ice Shatter only shatters on damage. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I think it shatters no matter what. So, and even against those heroes, right, you just cast the ability before they get that low of health, and then you're good. Like, this spell is always useful. This spell is pretty much always useful. This spell is always useful, and this spell is always useful. You will always have useful buttons throughout the course of the game. This hero is just very, very powerful. Wasn't picked too much last patch, so they buffed his E to have half the cast point. Basically, when his old Ags gave him a reduction in cooldown and cast point in his E, that was super powerful. I like that a lot. They changed it to make this super strong too, where it gets 800 bonus cast range and has a stun duration for half the duration that you channel it. And you'll see we're gonna make full use of that this game, because I do end up getting Ags this game. So you'll see that in action. I don't know how I liked it. I don't know how I like that purchase, but I do get it this game. So we'll get to see that in action. But his old Ags used to, as I said, reduce the cast point of Purifying Flames, and that was so juicy, because that cast point being that small, basically as small as it is now, I'm kind of spoiling my point here, meant that you could just like rapid fire that shit out. And then last patch, which is the patch that we're currently playing on, the last set of patch notes that came out like I think a week and a half ago or so at this point, in that patch, they reduced the cast point of this ability to 0.15 seconds, which is like 0.05 seconds longer than what it was in the old days when his Ags reduced his cast point. So now you get like half of what you used to buy the Ags for free on the hero, straight out of the gate. So he feels even better. He got buffed last patch. I don't know why he got buffed. I guess he wasn't picked in the competitive scene that much, but man, he is such a strong hero right now, and I just love playing him. So we do the same principle that I'm going to actually back up and explain this. We do the same thing that I told you guys to do in the last Oracle video, which is look for first blood opportunities, because you have a form of crowd control. It can be very long. It can be a 2.5 second route. It does pretty good damage, and of course you supply right clicks. Like, you are a hero that can set up first blood situations at the rune. You just kind of need 2 to 3 heroes to be able to do it. And so we're going for it. I think this is a huge mistake on my Earthshaker's part, that I don't understand why he did it. So you come down here, we place a ward to scout out this rune location, block the camp, all that good shit. I don't really think we should be blocking this camp with a ward, but whatever. And all we need to do here is wait, right? Why do we need to wait? We need to wait here because, well, first of all, Prophet and Void Spirit aren't in position. But more importantly than that, we need to wait because the rune is what is going to condition this kill, right? I told my PL, I communicated to my PL in advance, I'm going to bottom to get a first blood on this rune. The reason why heroes end up like going in for like overextending, if you will, is because they want this rune, right? The only time that they do that is when the rune is going to spawn. This is the condition. This rune spawning is the condition for the kill, right? It's not just Coddle standing right here. Coddle's way safer if he's standing right here compared to if he's standing right here. Imagine if, as the timer ticks down to like 15 seconds, Coddle and Luna are standing like right here, and Earthshaker's standing like right here. Imagine if Earthshaker just walked out, Fissure blocked them both, and because we have vision, because of the high ground vision ward that he placed right here, and because Earthshaker could like walk behind, if we had vision, if I like queued Coddle and Luna at the same time, that's pretty unlikely, but if I queued them when they're like standing right here trying to come back up, like I land like a 1 or a 1.5 second duration route, like, dude, that would be G fucking G. But instead, Earthshaker gets his fucking first blood boner going. He's like, dude, I'm gonna walk behind and I'm gonna fissure block him. We're not waiting. I'm not in position yet. I'm saying to my team, I'm like, guys, don't do this. Like, let Void Spirit stand right here. Like, or he's like not even in position. Like, it's literally just the two of you guys. Let's wait for the timer to tick down so these heroes can overextend for the rune. But we don't do that. Instead, we go for this fissure block. So I have to like now come out and try to come over here. And then I see it's like, guys, we did this against a 330 movement speed hero. There's no way we're catching him, right? You guys used your one stun to block off some random retreat path that doesn't even matter. So it's like, why, like, we completely fucked this entire thing up. This is entirely on Earthshaker, so I'm just walking away. But then Luna's AFK. Coddle's been pinging him for the last, like, ever since he got fissure blocked right here, Coddle's been pinging him. Luna's literally sitting here AFK, and we get a free kill anyways. Complete mistake on Earthshaker's part that got remedied by the fact that it's 5k solo queue and people aren't paying attention. Or rather, they're AFK, so that's pretty cool. But serious misplay on the Earthshaker's fault. We could have gotten a double kill, or at the very least, that could have been a guaranteed kill, right? Guaranteed meaning that we didn't have to rely on Luna being AFK. Like, we could have just gotten a free kill if she wasn't AFK there, because they would have gone in for the rune, right? So I end up just walking top here. I end up walking top because the creep waves aren't even going to meet until another 15 seconds, and I think I can get there in time to meaningfully contest the wave. So that's what I'm doing here. Last game you guys saw me TP. That was because of... So you TP when you make the play when it happens, like when the runes spawn. So when the runes spawn and you go in and make the kill, like the kill attempt there, then it's like... It's 0-0-0, right? Like the game had just started, the runes had spawned, and the creep waves are already walking across. Because of the way that this play happened way before, like way in advance of the rune spawning, I didn't feel the need to TP. So in this situation, you could say a benefit to Earthshaker making the, in my opinion, misplay that he made was the fact that I don't need to use my TP now to go back top. I would gladly, by the way, I would gladly use my TP if it meant getting a kill, which in this game it didn't matter because Luna was AFK, but in most games where Luna's not AFK there, they would have just walked off scot-free. I would gladly be okay waiting for them to get baited into the bounty rune so that we can actually get the kill in that situation. I think that's way preferable, me having to use my TP because we play the game correctly, than otherwise not getting a kill because we're trying to go on 325, 330 movement speed heroes that can just run away because they're not getting baited into getting the rune. But I digress. It's neither here nor there. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm just saying that like in this situation, I was able to save my TP because we went for that play as early as we did. And so as I arrived top, you saw that I used my Q on the range creep there. Explain my play here. Some of you guys have the mentality of like, it's a range creep. You should be giving that to your PL. He needs the farm or whatever. Range creeps are very, very important because of the experience they give. They give about 20 more experience, I think, than melee creeps. It's pretty important in the early game. So regardless of whether or not that PL, sorry. Let me explain. PL had no way of guaranteeing the creep there because he didn't have a point in his spirit lines. He went doppelganger level 1. That means that all he would have been doing was trying to right-click it down. And against Tusk and Doom that were already staying on top of the range creep, I was just saying to myself, you know, I just want to guarantee this, right? This spell does a ludicrous amount of damage at level 1. It does 120 damage. I can guarantee this range creep, and us getting the range creep, regardless of whether or not I'm getting the gold, us just getting this juicy, clean experience is what's most important here. So that's what I prioritized. It doesn't matter that you're using spells, like that little bit of mana. I had full mana anyways, so I could have gotten the natural mana base regen that I have will fill my hero's mana pool up. To full. So it makes no sense for me to sit there and like prioritize having 100% full mana here. I'd rather just use it on a range creep, get some value out of my mana regen, and guarantee that we're getting the experience. Here I'm going to go for a pull. Why am I going for a pull? So it was similar to the last replay that I looked at, right? Last replay I had a Terrorblade. When Terrorblade doesn't have Metamorphosis, there's really nothing we can do in the lane, right? Same thing with PL. Until PL gets like level 3 and 2 points in his Spirit Lance, you'll see this game he doesn't go for 2 points in his Spirit Lance, and it's a questionable decision there. But either way, until PL gets like some levels in Spirit Lance, we can't really play aggressive in this lane, right? PL's kind of a melee creep. My hero isn't strong enough to compensate for that fact. We're against Doom Tusk. There's like very little that we can do to meaningfully engage with this lane. So I'm going to go for a pull, and then PL, I guess, doesn't recognize the fact that I'm going for a pull and loses like 3/4 of his HP here, which I think is a huge mistake. I mean, that's the classic, right? It's the classic. You're in the 4K. If you are watching this video, one of the 100 people that usually watches my videos, and you're in the 3 to 4K bracket and you play support regularly, and you saw what just happened and thought to yourself, man, Wired, you got the classic going on, then trust me, motherfucker, I know what you're talking about, because that right there, what just happened, is the classic. You're a support, you tell your carry, hey, I'm going to go pull, be careful, I'm not in the lane. Your carry doesn't register that fact and plays too aggressively in the lane and loses all of his HP and dies. In this case, PL didn't die, but he just traded 3/4 of his HP, probably not even for a creep. That is just the classic, dude. Gotta love that shit, right? Yeah, huge misplay by the PL. It's kind of it even throws you off, right? Because as the support, like you're making this pull, you want to aggressively deny the creeps, you want to aggressively get, you want to make sure you're getting all the creep score here, right? But when the PL's doing that, it, like you're thinking to yourself, okay, well I can't look after the pull, now I have to go save him. So like my hero was walking towards it, and while you're walking towards the PL, you leave the range of these creeps dying. So like you almost lose EXP, or well, you might lose EXP depending on how far over you go. You definitely lose gold because you're not able to get the last assist. Like it's just really, really bad. Like when your support's making a pull, and especially if they're communicating that information to you as a carry, you have no excuse whatsoever. Play defensively, right? The lane will come back to you. You will get that farm. Just play defensively. That's all you have to do, right? but he didn't do that. So either way, I get a really good camp spawn. This first camp spawn is the 2 hill troll dudes with the ranged attacks, and then the kobold whipper dude. That camp is really powerful, so it will kill most of the creeps in this wave. But what I do is I make a huge mistake here. And that is that I overstay and have poor positioning and camera positioning. My hero's position does not need to be here. I could be farming these creeps over here or like over here, right? Instead, I'm getting close because the reason why I'm getting close, there is a reason for this. I'm not just doing it randomly. It's to reduce the travel time on my attack projectile. Oracle's attack projectile, like many ranged heroes, is like 300 or it's not 300. It's like 500 or 600. So it's not instant, right? It's not like Sniper where you just shoot the creep and it just dies instantly, or like there's no travel time. Like you do have a travel time in your attack projectile. And so I want to minimize that travel time by getting as close as possible, essentially making my hero like a melee hero. The disadvantage of that is that your hero's positioning gets compromised, right? And what you can do to compensate that is just having better vision, having better general map awareness of like recognizing, hey, these guys are not showing. That means they're probably coming over to contest the pull. And then also, this is the most important thing, is just like, you know, using your brain, which is kind of like all of those things in principle. Is like, I could just, you know, I could be looking over here. I could be conceptualizing the fact Tusk isn't showing, and then Doom is about to move over here. You'll see he's kind of starting to move over. Tusk still isn't showing on the map. There's no reason for me to be standing here when I don't see these 2 heroes. I could be standing over here and farming these creeps just as easily because these creeps could give me vision of the area. Instead, I'm sitting here trying to deny these, and I almost lose my life, similar to how PL almost lost his life earlier. So now I make the same mistake PL made of just overextending in a situation that I didn't need to, and I trade 3/4 of my HP for essentially nothing. I have to use my Fairy Fire. So mistakes made all around. Can't flame the PL. PL's on my friends list. I'm not party queuing, but we just so happen to queue each other. So no flame whatsoever towards this PL. He's a cool guy. I like playing with him. Okay, I love this dude. I'm just saying he made a mistake earlier in a very similar fashion. Now I'm making that same mistake of just overextending for creeps that I don't need to be. It's kind of like the support version of the mistake that PL made of just like going way too aggressive for pulls. Here he's going to make a good play and move his courier. I wish I was doing that last game. Remember last game that I showed, man? I lost my courier like 3 times to the Shadow Shaman. PL's going to make the intelligent play here. And now Tusk is sitting here, just doing whatever. I'm just going to back off because I'm kind of playing footsie with the Tusk a little bit. I'm like, if I can get cheeky little last hits on you, that's fine. And I think me wasting your time in this lane is way better than you wasting your time just trying. Like, he's not doing anything to me, and him being here means that he's not harassing my Tusk or my PL. And PL has a so recognizing lane matches is very important. Doom is a shitty lane hero. I've said this before, right? He's a shitty hero until like level 6. Like, you don't pick Doom for his strong laning prowess. You pick Doom because of his insane mid to late game team fighting and his ability to buy basically any item that your team needs. He's just a very powerful hero right now, right? With levels, Doom can be a formidable foe in lane, but that doesn't usually come online until like level 5 or 6, right? Doom level 2, 3, 4, and I know this because I play a lot of Doom, just for proof, so you don't think I'm blowing smoke here, right? I do play a fair amount of Doom, 156 games on him, right? Like, I do play Doom. The strength of Doom is him +1, right? He's a very big tanky hero, and in this lane, in particular with Tusk, he has a good matchup into the PL, basically until PL gets levels, like level 6, 7, 8, because they can always run at PL and threaten him with tag team. That's the strength of this lane. When PL is when Tusk is dicking around, harassing me or whatever near this camp, that means he's not applying pressure to my PL. And that's just always favorable for us, because we scale way better with levels than they do. Rather, not. I shouldn't say that. What happens is PL eventually becomes PL. Like, he eventually becomes a hero. Like, he is our carry. He's our win condition. So anytime that they're not fucking his game up in the early game is just a straight win, because I know that he will carry us later on, right? And that's part of the reason why I'm just sitting here making these pulls, right? And where PL, I think, needed to play a little bit more safe and recognizing, like, hey, even though he does get the Doom really low and makes that good aggressive trading that I like to see, like, it's still one of those situations where Tusk did leave the lane, and I could have communicated that better to him. But Tusk left the lane, and I didn't chase after the Tusk because I wanted to make another pull happen. I'm just playing. Arguably, I'm playing too safe in this lane. But I'm just thinking to myself, like, Tusk Doom is a strong lane combo when it comes to both those heroes together, with especially level 2 on Tusk, which means they can snowball, get within melee range of either PL or myself. And it's just not a lane that I want to contest right now. I am much more content consistently pulling, getting my experience, getting PL his free solo lane of experience, and constantly pushing the equilibrium towards our tower, and then eventually pushing it in so that I can pull it back towards our tower again, and just kind of playing a passive lane here, right? Until either Tusk or Doom leaves the lane, we can't really meaningfully interact with it. So I just want to play for mid game, play for late game, and act as though PL is our win condition, which he is, because otherwise I don't really see how we meaningfully interact with this lane. So here, I pulled the safe lane, the safe lane easy camp, and then Tusk, or I think it was Doom actually, pulled their hard camp to compensate. This was a good play by them. I should have considered blocking this camp like every minute that I could have to just delay this possibility from them as long as possible. But I don't. So they compensate. Like I said, they pull the hard camp, and the responses that you have to this as support are as follows. Firstly, since there's a triple wave now going under their tower that they're going to get a lot of experience from, I can now pull the hard camp, which is what you're going to see me try to do. I miss it, but you can actually pull this hard camp when you're the safe lane. And you can pull the easy camp and connect it to the hard camp, right? No matter what, though, you don't just want to let them get a bunch of free waves under. Like, I'm an offlaner and I'm telling this. Like, take my words, especially to heart, because like I'm telling you, I'm giving you guys the roadmap to success here. You don't want to just like consistently give 3, 4, 5 creep waves to the enemy offlaner under their tower. That's like a recipe for disaster, right? Because there's just so much levels in farm that you're giving to them for free, right? So I'm trying to correct this wave. The creep equilibrium currently by pulling this hard camp. It's not going to work out. Tusk interrupts it, but also just in general, I think I pulled it a little bit too late. And then I'm also going to get gone on it. And I'm actually going to die here. And this kind of just goes to show the strength of this lane that we're against, right? When Doom gets level 2 Scorched Earth, when Tusk gets basically level 2 in Tag Team, they have a lot of damage and sticking power that we just can't meaningfully interact with. So I die. I go down there. Did not honestly expect it, but it happened. And it's just my fuck up, man. I tell PL to drop his items, so he drops his items, which gives me a reason to TP back into his lane. I was thinking about TPing mid here because I wanted to fill Void Spirit's bottle, and I actually should have done that. Looking back, there's no reason for me really not to do. I mean, to be fair, bounty runes just spawned, so you could argue that he doesn't need me to TP into his lane, and maybe that's a reason enough to do it, or not to do it. But generally speaking, when you're going to make that play, what you want to do is look to TP mid if you can, just to fill up the mid laner's bottle if they need it, and then walk back up to your lane and give him the items. Instead of TP back into the lane, we almost get this Doom. We almost get him. What we needed was, firstly, we needed an extra point. This is where I mentioned at the start of the game. This PL's build is a little bit off, I think. I think he should have gotten 2 points in Spirit Lance. I don't know. I don't play PL a whole lot. And I know that the bonus agility doubles on Phantom Rush and the cooldown goes down. Like, I know this is a good ability, but I think it's probably more correct. I don't know. Maybe leveling this is what, or leveling this up to level 2 is what enables him to trade with the Doom better to get him this low to begin with. But all I know is that if Spirit Lance was level 2, I feel like we get to the kill here. But I'm not going to talk too much about that because, again, this is PL specific shit that I don't know too much about. We almost get the Doom on kill on that Doom though. It doesn't happen. Partially because I just don't have vision. Partially because I wasn't even like auto attack moving in between. Like a bunch of little micro mistakes could have probably resulted us, if corrected, in getting that kill. So marginal mistake there on both of our behests. But I'm still chilling. I'm in this lane. I want to make another pull happen if I can. I think I pulled a range creep here. I just walk over and the animation of my hero's auto attack wasn't going to finish quickly enough that I just throw my E out to guarantee that I pull the creep camp sooner. And then I place a sentry here. The reason I place a sentry here is because, I'm just going to check to see if I was correct. I was not correct, but especially when the nighttime, when the 5-minute mark rolls around and nighttime begins, this is a common ward spot for Radiant. And then this, like, you know, symmetrically, I guess you could say speaking, like is a common ward spot for Dire. Basically, this is a hotly contested vision area all throughout the early game, but especially when nighttime falls, because there's just a lot of different avenues that, like, say for instance, Wind Ranger can enter this lane. If she comes top, gets this DD, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, 6-minute mark rolls around, the rune's gonna spawn, it's top haste. It's a haste rune top, right? Wind Ranger grabs the haste rune and she starts running top. If I don't have a ward here, like, we don't know how long she's staying here, right? Wind Ranger with a haste run is very threatening, so we certainly want to know if she's here, because we want to farm creeps, but at the same time, we don't want to die to a hasted Wind Ranger. Just having information via a ward of this area is going to be probably life or death in like 9 times out of 10. So I am ferrying out a ward to me to get this information. There's 2 valuable ward spots, and usually getting both of them isn't possible. But there's 2 valuable ward spots for this area, and you do want to get ward to your carry, especially as you start to think about leaving the lane around the 6, 8, and 10-minute mark as a support. Is basically You want to give vision of this area, and you want to give vision of this tower somehow. Be it either like a ward right here, a ward right here, or a ward right here. Ward right here is probably most aggressive and probably easiest to deny. Secondary is probably a ward right here, which is pretty easy to deny. A lot of people expect it. And then the most difficult ward, I think, to deny, but the one that's going to give the least amount of vision is like a ward like over here, or like over here, or something like that, like right outside the tower. Basically, you want to see who is going to TP into this tower to try to make a rotation on your carry, and you want to see that you want to have information or access to that information as soon as possible, right? You want to see it right as they're TPing in, because if they're allowed to finish a TP and then start walking towards your carry, like as it turns out, the offlaner, in this case a Doom, has a lot of setup, right? He could get a neutral creep, he could get a point in his E, and he could Doom the PL. All of that is just going to buy whatever teammate is going to be TPing into this lane time, especially if the wave is like right here. For basically then to condition a kill on PL. And I don't want that happening, right? I definitely don't ever want this PL dying. So that is why it's so important, especially as a, again, 5 position support where, you know, you're going to be in this lane for a good chunk of the early game, to be buying a ward and setting your PL up for success by either, well, ideally both, but if you have to make a choice between the two, I can't actually remember. Do we have a ward in shop? It's not going to show for my team, I don't think. Can I, player perspective? Yeah, okay. So yeah, I don't think you can usually ward both, because the ward in the mid lane, especially around the nighttime, is also very, very important. Like this ward is very important as well. And this is the beauty of Dota, is wards are on a cooldown. You can't just ward infinitely. Like you can't just buy every single ward in the game, like old League of Legends or whatever. Like you do have to ration wards out. But it's very important that these guys get a ward. I think maybe we could sacrifice this ward. I think we have the vision of this area, and I don't think we need to. It is important though to also have vision around the map. Like this is how you make plays. So I'm not gonna flame this ward too much. All I know is my PL needs a ward, right? And me warding here or here somewhere is important for him to not die. And so I end up warding, as you'll see, as I get my words here, and I create another, or I create this. Oh yeah, I created another pull. This is kind of cheeky. Look at this. That's kind of cool. I'm walking over, I throw a Q on this guy just to harass him, just to get him off the creep wave, and then I'm like, oh, time to go pull. And so here's what I do. I come over here, I'm getting my ward off the courier, and then I'm like, wait, before I get my ward off the courier, why don't I pull this camp because it's nighttime, I don't have vision of the camp. Why don't I put my, I'm such a clever bastard, man. Why don't I put my courier in range of the easy camp to give me vision so I can throw my purifying flames out, so I can pull the camp preemptively, and I end up pulling it that way, and I just think that's so clever. You want to continuously pull this camp. Why, you might ask? Well, I'll show you, right? Let's just look at this bar. That's all you got to know. And Doom walks over and shares, splits the XP, right? 15 experience. That would have been 30 if Doom's not over here. But of course, Doom's going to contest it. The reason why you want to keep pulling this camp if you can is it's just free experience, and also gold, of course, if you get the last hits, which I'm going to get that one. Like, it is so valuable and cannot be overstated how much more valuable to your team you are if you're not draining their resources by leeching experience in lane, right? But rather finding those resources via pulling, right? And via like moving around the map and getting kills for your team. In this game, I don't opt for like this super aggressive roam style of Oracle or whatever, but instead I opt to just pull and try to upset the lane equilibrium as much as possible. Here I go for a ward for my PL. Like I said, I need to get some kind of ward there, or some kind of vision for my PL, but I think the highlight of this lane has been how often I've pulled and how often I've been trying to set my PL up for getting solo lane experience and gold. Sweet. So I'm gonna play top for a little bit longer. I've talked about this before. Oracle on like the early levels, basically level 1 to level 2, does have some harassment potential with Fortune's End. But as you start to level up, it gets a little bit more difficult to justify just randomly casting your E and your Q on the enemy support or even the enemy offlaner, unless you have like a lot of mangoes. And the reason for that is simply mana, right? Like it's you just looked, or you just watched. Like I did a basic spell rotation combo on this Tusk via my Purifying Flame and Fortune's End combo, and that took like over half my mana pool. Now I don't even have enough mana to cast my spells, to cast even just the combo alone, let alone Fate's Edict. So it's what I'm trying to say is that what I can do is perhaps buy mangoes, perhaps buy clarities, and just invest my net worth into harassing the enemy offlaner / support. In this game, I didn't opt to do that because Doom is a rather heavy sustain hero. Through Devour, this hero just stays in lane for basically forever. But in some games, you can consider doing that, which is, again, basically investing a lot of your net worth into harassing the enemy down with your spells. But I didn't do that this game. So what happens here is Tusk goes on me, and I cast my Fate's Edict on myself to heal myself, basically, with my E, and then also save myself from some magic damage from Scorched Earth. Looking back in hindsight, I think I should have actually considered casting Fate's Edict on Tusk to disarm him, and then I could just go super hardcore on the offensive there, with, like, disarm him so he can't right-click me with Tag Team, and then start channeling my Q, and then as he starts to run away, I can throw my Q out and then throw an E out in between that, and I think that would have been more correct here. Either way, we end up getting the kill with Spirit Lance and my Purifying Flames combo, which is, you know, juicy. We always love getting kills for free. And that was just a mistake on Tusk's part to dive me when they thought they could kill me but could not, rather. Now PL is making a slightly aggressive move on the Doom. And this is just the beauty of level 6 PL, is you get to harass people for free as you get to spawn free illusions. This Ring of Regen, I just want to comment on it real quick. This Ring of Regen definitely should have been a stick. I have no idea why I bought a Ring of Regen. I think I accidentally queued up Tranquils. I usually do get, like, Windlace as one of my first items, and I should be getting stick. This is just a mistake. In some lanes you can consider, not even necessarily an Oracle, like I wouldn't even say this is a good idea on Oracle, but in some lanes, I think Ring of Regen can be a totally fine laning item. Like, it's a decent sustain item. If you need it because you have no HP, then you're not buying it correctly. It's an item that you buy specifically to counter certain lane compositions. And this game was not, I was not against such a lane composition that necessitated Ring of Regen, right? Tusk and Doom are not going to kill me slowly over time through conditioning a kill and keeping me at 50% HP with Harass, right? Ring of Regen's a way better item to buy against, like, heroes like, I would say Venomancer, or just heroes that, like, poke you down gradually and then condition a kill because you're at 1/4 to 1/2 HP. Yeah, I should not have bought this Ring of Regen. It should have been a stick. I guess full disclosure, I was on the phone with my girlfriend, and also I was getting pinged constantly by this Earthshaker around like 10 minutes in, and you'll see that. I'll note when that happens. We just didn't have good chemistry. This guy was flaming me because PL dies. I think he dies right here, or he dies a little bit afterwards. And he's pissed because PL's dying when Tusk is bottom, harassing the Nature's Prophet and the Earthshaker at the same time when we have a ward up. He's like, I don't know how you guys are dying. You guys have a ward up there and shit like that. And it's like, well, Wind Ranger, you'll see. I won't even talk anymore about it. Here I make a mistake. And I want to point that out. I accidentally, my fat fucking fingers, or my lack of ability to correctly target things, makes me cast my Q on the PL here instead of on the Doom. I definitely should have cast this on the Doom. So it forces us to commit, like overcommit basically on the Doom. We have to commit a lot more damage. And that leads PL to being in a disadvantageous situation here, right? Like where he essentially just dies to Wind Ranger. So PL didn't have to die there if I cast my Q correctly, and I fucked up accordingly. But I guess at least we killed the Doom. Definitely not worth it though. If PL had lived there, that would have been great, but he didn't, so unfortunate situation. But I guess it gives me a little bit of solo experience and solo gold here, so that's kind of cool, but definitely not worth it all the same. Good rotation though by the Void Spirit, which enabled us to get that kill, and then good counter rotation by the Wind Ranger. PL TP's back in. I'm halfway to my level 6, and now I'm thinking to myself, I think I just want to go rotate around the map. I don't think PL needs me here anymore. Doom still does have Doom up though, so that is one thing that PL has to worry about, and is arguably reason enough alone for me to remain top. The thing I'm thinking about here though is like Void Spirit moved over to that easy camp, so I was thinking maybe I just want to take over this lane, but then he just comes back to lane, and so now I'm thinking, we've all been here before, right? You rotate to a lane that you think is going to be empty for a little while, but then like it doesn't end up being empty for a little while. It ends up being empty for only the time it took you to rotate over there. So I show up, Void Spirit comes back with no mana, and I'm like, well, he doesn't have mana, so he's not going to go make a rotation happen. So now I've just got to be the one that goes and makes this awkward ass rotation with half mana. I do have enough mana to make a kill happen. Like I have enough mana for basically for Purifying Flames and Fortune's End, which is all you need at level 5 to get a kill. But instead I end up just waiting around for the bounty runes to spawn. The 10-minute experience burst from the outposts come, and I'm almost level 6, so I really just want to go leech this from a lane if I can. Ideally it's not a lane that's occupied, right? So I'm thinking, okay, Void Spirit left again. This guy's got a bit of an identity crisis with what he wants to do. Only a little bit though, I'm not trying to flame him or anything. So I just come mid, and then he comes back, and I just channel my Q on her because I'm like, fuck it. I probably shouldn't have channeled that Q because I was kind of low on mana, and I think what's important here is I'm preserving enough mana for full rotation of my spells, because I definitely don't want to go back to base right now. That'd be a huge feels bad, man. Here the mid tower's getting pressured by Coddle and Wind Ranger. The Wind Ranger even ulted the tower, so I want to stick around to see if I can't like make this Wind Ranger scared, because if she's able to channel a full duration ulti on that tower, it's going to die or get very low. And I think I've said this in other videos, but the mid lane tower is the most important tower in the map. But now as a fight's developing bottom, I decide to go down here. In hindsight, I think I play this fight poorly, but I just do whatever I can. I come in, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to cast my ulti on this Earthshaker and try to cast my spells on Tusk to see if we can't do something. I end up getting doomed, and then Luna pops Eclipse, and then Doom hits me with the Shockwave there. I wouldn't have died if it was just a Doom alone, but he hits a solid Shockwave. That's a good neutral creep for him to steal, and he's able to pick up the kill accordingly. Void Spirit does make a good rotation, so at least we get a return kill on their support, but overall, I don't think this was all that worth it. The biggest benefit we have to all of this is that PL is up here farming, and I even look at him immediately after that fight, and I'm like, sweet, like, Doom's down, Eclipse is down, the enemy team can't fight for another 120 seconds, and PL is free farming. That is a silver lining to this, but I don't know, it's still like one of those situations where, you know, it's debatable. It's debatable how worth it that was, because the enemy got 2 kills, and one of them was directly on their Luna. So it is what it is. I TP mid here because, again, I just want to keep this tower alive for as long as possible. I think I should have played aggressively there. In fact, I know I should have. Look at that. That Wind Ranger could have died if I was channeling my Q on her the entire time. Instead, I pulled the creep wave back, but I shouldn't have done that. I pulled the creep wave back because I was like, fuck it, I want to get some farm here, but definitely should not have done that. I even missed one of the creeps because I accidentally Purifying Flames my fat fingers again. I accidentally Purifying Flames myself instead of a creep that I was trying to Purifying Flames for Elastic, so. Definitely fucked up there. Probably disappointed my Void Spirit too, because he used a lot of mana there to engage on the Wind Ranger, and I was walking back. So huge mistake on my part. Should have just channeled the Q, man. Now I'm going up, walking up back top here, seeing what I can make happen. I see PL in lane against a Luna and a Tusk, and I'm like, okay, he needs somebody there to. Oh shit, sorry. He needs somebody in lane here to feel safe rather, and I almost have my ulti up, but even without my ulti up, I can be very useful against these like, I can make both of those heroes do very, very little, especially without Luna ulti, right? I can W the Tusk or the Luna, quite frankly, to render tag team useless, at least for one of those heroes, and then I can also use my Fortune's End on another hero to stop their chase. So showing up here just kind of fortifies my PL's location. You could argue that instead maybe I should be playing around, like, you know, Void Spirit or my bottom lane. And there's like a fair argument to be made there. But in this situation, I just feel like we can play aggressively on this tower. Over here, and I just see Luna farming top. I'm just thinking to myself, like, if I could just keep this chick off a creep wave, then my PL is farming if she's not. So I come over here, I E her, and then I should have been completely content with just throwing that E on her and scaring her off. But for whatever reason, and this might apply to you as well if you're an Oracle player, I have a habit of whenever I cast my Purifying Flames on somebody, I have a habit of thinking to myself, well, I don't want to heal them, so I'm going to cast my Q on them immediately after, right? And I overcommit so hard to this Q for no reason, such that it inquires the teleportation scroll to be used by Tusk, TP's in, and he just zips on my ass. Well, he doesn't zip on my ass, but he just comes in, casts a full rotation of his spells on me, and then I'm getting super low, and then Luna comes in and casts an E. I think if I had cast another E on myself, or if I just had a freaking stick instead of this Ring of Regen, I think I could have lived, but instead I end up dying, and they get a free kill on me. And then I think his PL is running away here. I think he gets a kill on the Tusk, but then dies to the Wind Ranger. Overall, this was bad. No, I think it was the Nature's Prophet ulti there that secured that kill there. Nature's Prophet TP's in, and we have some support rotation, support rotations. We have some support coming in from our team. Like, we have rotations coming out from both our Earthshaker and our Void Spirit. But this fight, neither team pushes their buttons particularly well, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, Scuttle ulti wasn't all that bad. I died like 30 seconds ago, so finally I'm back up, and I had my TP up, so I respawned back into the fight, but Earthshaker cast his ulti on a Luna that was going to die to my E anyways. And overall, this is just a really bad trade. I think we killed, what did we kill? We killed the Tusk. Yeah, Nature's Prophet killed the Tusk, and then and we killed the Luna, but we lost PL's life, my life, yeah, Earthshaker's and Nature's Prophet. Overall, I'd say this wasn't worth it, and it was just a bad fight that I started, so I am to blame for. I'm not even gonna say, but it's fine, because at least now I get some solo XP or some shit. Like, it was just a bad fight. I made a huge mistake there. But I will say, but it's fine, because I got PMA, man. But it's fine. I got some farm. I'm holding this tier 1, holding it for as long as I possibly can, because the safe lane tier 1 is super important, but I don't have a TP here, and I'm just, basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to make space for my team and hold this tier 1. I end up dying for this. This is one of those deaths that I think you can call a space creation death. I'm just trying to stay alive for as long as possible. Channel a full duration Q. It's hard to say, though, that was a space creation death, because I wasn't even able to clear the creep wave, so I'm not even really able to meaningfully prolong this tower's life. Like basically they're just waiting for the next creep wave to come in for them to pressure it. At least PL made a very, very good rotation here to go bottom. Farm rotation, I should say, to TP bottom. So this is a significant amount of space that I just created for my team. Well, that the top tier 1 created for the top tier 1's team, that Dyer's top tier 1 created for Dyer's top tier 1's team. And you could argue I created some of that space because I think I encouraged Tuss to come back top. I think he was just going top anyways, and he's like, let's take that tower and anybody that comes in to try to defend it. Yeah, if I wasn't there, basically, if I didn't stick around top after that team fight, I think that would have been totally fine. If I had instead moved mid or bottom to try to contest those towers, because they were applying a lot of pressure to our top, and I should have just recognized that. Here I come mid. After I died and I was walking back, I go mid. It's like 15 minutes in, and I think I remember checking for the neutral creep items because there's a few good tier 1 ones that you can pick up. Most notably is the cast range one. It's a really good one on Oracle. I tend to keep that. I think I said this last replay analysis. I can't remember, but I tend to keep that one all the way up until like tier 3 or even tier 4 item spawn because it's just that damn good. And then shovel is also really good item on Oracle because you can get the salves and you can cast those on your heroes. Shovel's just generically good. Usually support will keep that all throughout the game to shovel up bounty runes occasionally. But here I come mid. Why do I come mid? Because the map's really dark mid, and I want to play mid. I want to play mid because it gives me an objective in warding, right? Because I want to have vision of these power runes. In the mid game, they're very, very underrated. Power runes condition kills all throughout the game, and in the mid game, they usually, in lower MMR pubs especially, lose value, or at least lose perceived value. They don't actually lose value, they lose perceived value because mid becomes less of a contested lane in lower MMR pubs, right? People are like moving around the map. They're not focused as much on the objectives that still lie in the middle lane. Most notably, again, these bounty runes, and then any tier 1 tower that is still up. But even if both tier 1s are dead, like it's still very important that you are seeing as both Radiant and Dire, that you're seeing and actively attempting to go for power runes because they can just be so powerful, especially for a hero with a bottle. So don't underestimate the power runes. I'm telling you, man, they can swing games really, really hard, even past the early game laning stage. So I come here, I ward the top, basically just the top tower, power rune. We get a little bit of high ground vision, which is still good. This vision is good, but can also be denied quite easily by the enemy team, and I kind of recognize that. I'm trying to sort of camp this area accordingly. It's not specifically just to defend. Like I'm not just standing here just to protect that ward. I'm kind of also standing here because of several reasons. Again, I'm taking a lot of flack from this Earthshaker. He's flaming me, and like that's distracting me. And I'm also on the phone with my girlfriend. I'm just super distracted this game, and at specifically this point in the game. So like full disclosure, I'm not playing perfectly right now by any means. We're going to get engaged on here. I'm going to get popped. Like, this is just all a bunch of nonsense. I think I remember typing to my team or something like that, how distracted I was because I was focused on like too many different things. But don't worry, we're strapped in for a good long game here, boys, and I'm gonna turn this all around. I'm gonna speed past my death here. Kind of going at a snail's pace. I want to make this go a little bit quicker here because I promise you we're gonna make a good demonstration here of Oracle shit. So, coming to this little over-engagement by Tusk and Coddle. Coddle TP's out, but Tusk dies. So here we're just like, okay, well, they have a hero that's dead. Let's go push the mid tier 1. It's a super important tower that we still haven't gotten. So we do that, pushing the creep wave in. And then for whatever reason, Earthshaker starts walking away. I just go over here to deward this spot. That's all I'm doing here. So I mean, after they make a play like that, right? If you ever die in this part in your jungle and it's nighttime and it's because 2 or 3 heroes converged on you, that means they have vision here. And you should deward it, right? In this case, they placed vision in the most obvious place ever. But even if they didn't place vision here, like if they placed it here, they placed it here, they placed it, here, of course, obviously. Like no matter what, you want to get rid of that vision. So that's what I go do. I go deward that vision that was very obviously there. And then we push in the tower. And then I think I just drew on the map, or no, Void Spirit just drew on the map that he wants to go like this and go to try to pressure their side jungle, or the Radiant jungle. Go look for Luna and whatnot, which is a good idea. I go over here. I can't remember exactly what it was that I was pinging. I think I was pinging that I wanted to get vision of this area just in case they had another ward there. Yeah. And this is arguably a mistake on my part, actually. So this little triangle of wards that I just placed is pretty good in my opinion. Sentries, rather. Because yeah, they did have another ward here, as you can see, and my Void Spirit actually, that's right, okay. I was pinging up here because Void Spirit said, I think they have another ward here, and I was like, are you sure? And then I pinged, I was like, are you sure they have a ward you're saying right here? And then he's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because I guess they placed a ward here and a ward here. Kind of curious as to what's going on with that, but either way. So I placed a triangle of sentries, let me click on one. And this triangle of sentries is pretty good because, well, this one was just to deward this area. And then this one sees a lot of like the areas that they could possibly ward up here. I think I could have tolerated to place it a little bit further up here just to see that. But it's very, very unlikely that at this stage in the game, they would ward right here. Yeah, this sees any area that they'd place a ward in this area. The mistake of this ward, and I'm going to back up a little bit because there's a fight going on bottom. I don't want to miss. The mistake of this ward is that it doesn't see this area, I guess. I say I guess because I did not expect them to ward here, but evidently they did. It's not even that bad of a ward spot either. It gives them vision of, I think it gives them vision of at least like around this farming area, which is an area that like, you know, we could reasonably farm on like Void Spirit or PL, and them being able to see that would enable them to create a smoke condition to go kill us there. So they do in fact have a ward here. Void Spirit was trying to let me know and say deward it, and so you know I just barely missed it with my sentries, which feels fucking bad, man. But we'll come back and deward that later because he was still pretty convinced that they have a ward there. But here what's happening is Nature's Prophet was pushing top, and then PL was getting gone on bottom. They doomed a PL illusion, which is pretty funny to think about after PL had already died. So already we're off to a nice start with these button pushes, or with the pushing of these buttons, right? Just rewind. Right. So PL gets gone on under the tier 1. Doom walks over, and then I do like the way that this PL is microing. This is really brilliant by him. He actually does get doomed. They kill him. They kill the one that they thought was an illusion. This PL's a good player, man. He's on my friends list. I should play with him more often. He does get doomed there though. And I just want to explain this. As we're coming in, I think all of us, not all of us, no. Void Spirit correctly walks to the tower, and so does Earthshaker, so that means that I can TP into the tower with a 2.5 second TP time. And I TP in. So PL does die here, but we kill Doom. Doom has no Doom. Eclipse gets used, but Prophet summons all of these treants, which means that they're going to be getting hit by Eclipse instead of our actual heroes. Earthshaker does go down, but Prophet's still alive. Coddle's ulti is down as well. And I still have my ulti, so we can play super, super aggressively here, right? And Void Spirit knows that. So he's going in, he's also just a generically very elusive hero, and he's quite tanky at this stage in the game too, with his health pool. So like, you know, he was full HP, and I think he has some stat boosting items. Like, we're just playing super, we're just trying to make up for the fact that we just lost our PL essentially there. I would say overall that was a pretty good trade for us because we still have Echo Slam, we still have my ulti, we can still fight basically, and they don't have Doom or Eclipse. And they also, in addition to using those spells, they lost those two heroes, right? They did lose their Luna and their Doom. So we're stifling the farm, despite the fact that they killed our PL, we're stifling the farm of their carry as well. And like on top of that, right, we are getting farm on heroes that can create win conditions. Like Void Spirit can take over a game. Can he solo win a game? I don't know, it's questionable, but he can certainly take over a game, especially throughout the mid to late game, and be just an always like an ever present and always relevant hero throughout like a good majority of the late game. He might start to fall off a little bit in the damage dealing department, but like he's always going to be a relevant hero, and he didn't die at all there. In fact, he cleaned up, I think, 2 heroes throughout that fight. I think he got 2 kills. Yeah, he at least got the kill on the Tusk. So yeah, I'd say overall that was a good fight and a bad dive that they made. But whatever, that's how that fight went. I didn't explain my spell usage all that much, and I said this was going to be like an Oracle guide, so what the fuck. Okay, so I'll just go back to it. Okay, so it's coming up here. So right as I TP in, I should explain my skill build just a little bit. I think it's kind of obvious on Oracle, but if you're curious to play, if you're interested in learning Oracle, then there's a pretty good chance that you have a good idea of a skill build. But you always start level 1 Fortune's End. It's like basically your only useful ability. I've thought about starting Fate's Edict, but it's just not useful. It does cost a low amount of mana, and it does allow you to like trade basically for free because the enemy team can't, the enemy that you're using it against can't right click. But I think it's generically just strictly better to level Fortune's End at level 1. It costs more mana, sure, but it does a significant amount of damage at level 1. 120 damage is nothing to scoff at. Lets you secure range creeps, lets you harass people, lets you create like kill opportunities right at the rune. Like it's just usually better. And then after that, you're going to want to prioritize Purifying Flames, taking a point in Fate's Edict at level 5 or 4 rather, and then of course taking your ulti at level 6, 12, and 16. No, it's 18, I think. But right, those are the levels that you can level up your ulti, right? Usually it says, I don't know, it's whatever. Whenever you can level up your ulti is when you should level up your ulti. It's a good ability. That's the skill build. And then the skill order in terms of like how to fight fights, okay? So I TP in here, and the very first thing I'm looking to do is cast my spells on this Doom, right? To burst him down. So I channel Fate's Edict, or sorry, Fortune's End, to get a little bit of a root, like channeling it a little bit isn't. It's always a question of like in fights. You know, should I instantly throw this ability off for burst damage, or should I channel a little bit to get the root? In this case, I channeled it a little bit to get a bit of a root. Not entirely sure whether or not that was the correct play, but I did it. I don't necessarily looking back, I don't think I regret it. I think it was a good play. And then it's kind of awkward to like do this or to think about it, but when your Fortune's End is on cooldown, it is usually correct still to use Purifying Flames on heroes that are getting focused by your team, even though you can't immediately purge it. Why is that the case? Because you want to get that burst damage going, right? It takes so this ability lasts for 9 seconds, and the heal ticks in 1 second intervals. So when it heals for 44 health per second, right? And you consider the burst damage that it deals, which is 360. So if we just take 360, well, I guess 360 times 0.25, because that's hero's magic resistance. So it's 360 minus 90. So it's going to do 270 damage. And then you just take that divided by 44. It's going to take 6 seconds for the for the entirety of 270 damage to get healed up by the 44 health per second heal, right? Which means that if you kill the hero in that time frame, basically if you kill that hero under 6 seconds, you did more damage than you ended up healing. And the only reason I'm saying that, because like you could argue, well, around the 5 second, you only ended up, or the 5th second, you would have only ended up doing 44 damage anyways, right? Because like at 5 seconds, at 44 health per second, they would have healed like, 244 health. Or 200 and what? It's like, yeah, 240 health or some shit like that. Like you wouldn't have done that much damage anyways around 5 seconds. The important thing is just getting your nukes off cooldown repeatedly. Like if I cast my E there like I did, and I'll just go back and show you. So I cast my spell rotation immediately on Doom. Doom dies. Now I don't have Fortune's End for 9 seconds, right? And we want to go on a Luna that's casting Eclipse. Well, I see her getting stunned up here, right? And she's an obvious focus target by my Nature's Prophet and my Void Spirit, right? I'm thinking to myself, okay, even though I don't have Fortune's End on cooldown, I still want to cast this Purifying Flames. And I did, right? She got cast Purifying Flames on, right? I still want to do this. And the reason why I want to do this is because we want her dead, okay? And this ability does more damage than it does heal for the first 6 seconds of the ability. I just did the math on that just to confirm that to you guys. So even though she's healing a little bit, I still did net positive damage. And she ends up dying. It's only a bad thing if they're able to heal off of it. And generally speaking, that doesn't happen, especially here in the mid game. Here I cast my Fortune's End. I don't think I should have, but I did it on the Prophet because he had an Urn Charge on him, I think. And then I wanted him to still stay and fight. I was like, here, I can heal you up. Let's go fight. I'm just going to rewind a little bit. Yeah, so he has an Urn Charge cast on him by, I think it was the Tusk. Yeah, so Tusk cast an Urn Charge on the Prophet, and your Q does purge. It's a basic dispel, and Urn can get basically dispelled. I think the Urn Charge was the Urn Charge was wearing off anyway, so I don't think he needed my Fortune's End there. And if I had saved it here, I could have used it on this Tusk for the Yules, but we end up killing him anyways. I come in, I use my E there. Look, used my E and I didn't have Fortune's End, and now the Tusk is rolling on me. It's a bad E, right? Well, no, it's not, because even though he's healing a little bit, again, the burst damage is what's important, right? It's killing them immediately, which is what's powerful about this hero, and you can do that, right? You can, even without Fortune's End, you can still do a significant amount of burst damage pretty quickly. So yeah, if nothing else, if you learn nothing else from this video, take away the fact that Oracle has a lot of burst damage. It's all about using your spells, even if you don't have them in tandem with your other spells, because when your team is focusing on a target, what often will happen is the hero is just going to die, right? Don't worry about purging your heal, like always with your Q. Like it's good if you can do that, but if the target's getting focus fired, there's a good chance that your E will just make the difference. That 270 burst damage will make the difference between you immediately getting the kill and you won't, and then or you immediately getting the kill versus you not getting the kill immediately. And that's what's most important. Sorry. So here you can see the benefit to placing all these sentries here, right? Is like if a Wind Ranger ever just happens to pick up an Invis rune, which she did, right? And she looks around her jungle for kills, like well, we have all these sentries to spot you out, right? We have the sentry from up here from when I dewarded too. She should have known, like, obviously, that we had this this area sentry. The reason why she made that play, though, was because she had this ward here still. And Void Spirit makes the correct call out. He even says right here, and I'll show player perspective. He even says, he's like, hey, I don't think she would make that play unless they have this area warded. And so I'm pinging this area again, and I'm like, are you sure it's right there? And he's like, yeah, I'm pretty damn sure it's right there. He even said, if it's not right there, you can ignore me. And I said, and then at that point, I realized, I was like, this guy is just the nicest guy in the world. Because he's essentially saying, hey, you could just completely ignore everything that I say if this call happens to be wrong. Just a very nice guy in general. And I'm not being sarcastic whatsoever. That was a pretty funny thing that he said. It made me laugh. Come over here. I sentry this area. I get the ward, and I think I tip him after this. It was a good call by him. Yeah, I tip him. A funny fucking guy. So yeah. Okay. Okay, so I don't know if I explained this yet. Aether Lens first on Oracle. Aether Lens is a very, very powerful hero, item on this hero because it allows you to play basically like an artillery support, right? All of your spells are insanely impactful, and I don't even want to say the biggest thing that holds them back is the cast range because they have pretty good cast ranges. This ability has like an 800 cast range, I think it's 800 range. It doesn't say right here. Classic Dota. It says cast ranges on some abilities, but not others. I think this ability actually has like an 850 base cast range because this Fate's Edict is definitely Oracle's shortest cast range ability, and when it's maxed out, it has 800 cast range. And then I think Purifying Flames has like 825 or 850 cast range as well. Either way, all of these abilities have similar cast ranges, and that cast range is all around 800 to 850. Those are pretty decent cast ranges. And your ulti's is the same. Your ulti's level, cast range goes up with levels, but I think it starts at 750. Anyways, the takeaway here is that your abilities are so impactful, and they already have pretty decent cast ranges. However, if you can boost those cast ranges up to like 1,000 or 1,200, right? If you get a neutral creep item, that basically enables you to play so far back that you almost have no threat of dying, especially with a Glimmer Cape. Such that this hero just becomes like an artillery support, like I said, that can play super defensively, while also and aggressively, while also just like you it just gives you the best of both worlds. You get to play super aggressively with your spells, like you can consistently get your EQ combo out on the enemy mid laner or whoever needs to die in fights immediately, needs to get bursted down. You can always cast those spells from with impunity on the enemy heroes that need to be having them casted on, and then you can also be defensively with them as well, which means that you can stand under a tower when your team is getting, say we're getting engaged on under this mid tier 2, right? Well, I can stand all the way back here and still cast spells on heroes that are under this tier 2. And I'm so safe if I'm over here, right? They'd need to run over here on a gank type hero and kill me if they wanted to even kill me. But you'll see this fight. I think if we do fight here, I'm pretty sure we fight here. No, they correctly back off because they don't have a creep wave because Nature's Prophet's doing the right play here of, oh no, he's not actually. I thought he'd cut the creep wave. This guy drops a salve for me, which is a good play. But yeah, I generally go Aether Lens to close out the section on that. I generally go Aether Lens first on this hero. I've been thinking about getting a Glimmer Cape first, and I definitely should be getting an Urn in these games. I don't think anybody else got Urn this game. No, I think, didn't Void Spirit get Urn? No. Yeah, we definitely should have an Urn. In Oracle games in general, I think I should be going Urn more. It delays your Arcane Boots if you get it first item, but I think it's just a really good item. I tested this in a game, but when you have the Urn on a hero that's false promised, the Urn stays and continues to heal them. And of course, heroes that are affected by false promise have their healing doubled. Here, I'm making a mistake, just not looking over here. I could have saved that Earthshaker. But yeah, sorry. Urn is a really good item on Oracle. You should get Urn. And you should consider rushing it as your first purchase, maybe even before boots. Maybe get a stick or something. But certainly get it around in the lane phase, get your stick, maybe your windlace, or maybe just get your Urn first. Depends on how the lane's going, but you should certainly get Urn on this hero, and I think I make a mistake not getting it in this game and also in the replay analysis previously. There's some merit to the idea that not getting Urn lets you get other items quicker, But oftentimes getting an urn actually lets you get other items quicker because it helps you get kills and enable your team in ways that you otherwise can't, right? Your hero does come with a lot of innate sustain, like you have a heal, right? And it's a pretty powerful one too at that. Like for 150 mana, you can give a hero to, almost 400 HP. So you do have a form of sustain without urn, but with urn, urn gives you in combat sustain, and that's very powerful. But anyways, I digress. We're trying to hold this tier 2 here because if they get this tier 2, that opens up a lot of opportunities for them to go into our jungle because then they can take our outpost. And you're seeing sort of the power of like Aether Lens here, right? Where I'm able to cast my Q from 1150 distance away on the Wind Ranger. She can't threaten me, but I can threaten her by casting my Q. And then here I'm going to get gone on here. Here I'm going to get gone on here. LOL. Here I'm going to get gone on. Some mana pauses going on. I don't know who's doing that. But I get gone on. These heroes are just casting their spells on me. I have stick here. I get urn charged by the enemy. But with 2 heals plus stick, I am able to live. And I actually have full HP here. This PL gets doomed. I don't actually know how we got doomed there. It's pretty fucking crazy. But then they're going to mana pause again. And that's just always great. But I'm communicating to my team, hey, I think we can fight here. Like, despite the fact that I don't have ulti and we don't have PL, they used Doom and they used, what's his name? Coddle's ulti. Or I think maybe that ability is still on cooldown from the last fight. No, yeah, they used Coddle ulti and Doom. I saw the Coddle ulti. I don't even know why I said that. No, they used Coddle ulti and Doom. So I'm pretty sure we can fight here. And so we do, and we end up killing Wind Ranger, Doom, and we kill this Tusk. So I'm gonna say that's worth it. Luna stays alive and she gets to farm, but like their mid laner dying there is it's not good. It's definitely not good for them. And they're not really meaningfully pressuring that tier 2 tower. Oh yeah, and Coddle somehow dies. How did Coddle die? He died to Nature's Prophet, was it? How did Coddle die? He died to something. Oh, they kept chasing him. Was this me, actually? We're chasing him here. Who catches up with him? Oh, it's Prophet, yeah. Prophet comes over, and then Earthshaker comes in with the fissure. Yeah, or no, it's W. Okay, sweet. Yeah. I definitely don't think that was worth it for the enemy team. They won on the PL, which was good, and they even got the kill. But once they committed Doom and Ignis Fatuus, or what is Coddle's ulti called? I don't know what it's called, and he's not scrolling over. It's called Will-O-Wisp, yeah, sorry. Once they committed Doom and Will-O-Wisp, they should have recognized that their team can't fight, because their heroes are significantly less strong without both those abilities, so. So, yes. Okay, sweet. So take a good fight, and then, I've said this before, but what I generally do is go Aether Lens, and then disassemble my... When I get Aether Lens, I have to disassemble my Arcane Boots into the Aether Lens, and so after that, I set myself up for getting Tranquil Boots. As I talked to you guys about earlier, I bought that Ring of Regen for the lane. I had to combine the Ring of Regen, so I didn't end up buying Tranquil Boots. Tranquil Boots, for some reason, can't be disassembled. I feel like they should be able to be disassembled, but maybe that'd be broken. It might be broken, I don't know. There's probably some abuses that can happen with that. So... if there is abuses that could happen with that, like, what if people disassemble Tranquil Boots in the middle of a team fight and then reassemble them to get the movement speed and HP bonus? Like, you could just make it so that when you reassemble Tranquil Boots, they're inactive for the first 13 seconds or something. Like, I'm sure you could balance Tranquil Boots around being disassemblable. And I feel like that would be a nice buff to the item. Especially since they just nerfed it by 5 movement speed. Maybe that's the reason why they nerfed it by 5 movement speed and 50 gold was they're too strong. I don't know what the state of balance on Tranquil Boots is, but I just feel like that's an item that should be disassemblable. But maybe Valve doesn't like disassemblable items anymore, which is why the only item that can be disassembled is Echo Saber. And a lot of people have talked about how this item is going to be disassemblable because it's currently broken to be able to build an Orchid out of Echo Saber. So I don't know, but I wish Tranquil Boots was disassemblable because then you could do things like buy Tranquil Boots for the laning phase, disassemble them, get Arcanes, and then get Aether Lens and then reassemble your Tranquil Boots or something. I don't know, just Windlace and Ring of Regen are nice laning items sometimes. In this particular game, Ring of Regen, as I already explained, isn't. I should have had a stick sooner, but it would be nice if I could get like a Tranquil Boots and then get Aether Lens while having an Arcane Boots instead of Tranquil Boots, because Arcane Boots is really powerful in this hero for the early to mid game. But either way, after I get Tranquil Boots, or rather after I get Aether Lens, I work towards a Glimmer Cape because, and I've said this before, but Glimmer Cape is so powerful this patch. It just gives you as a support a get out of jail free card against almost every single core this patch, because almost every single core this patch is buying these dinky little drums, null talismans, bracers, wraith bands, basically these small items that fill up their inventory very quickly and make it difficult for their heroes to hold dust. And if they can't hold dust, then they can't see you in team fights unless you're under a sentry, or the support. Sorry, the enemy support is around, like the enemy 4 or 5 position is around to cast dust on you. And as an Oracle, I'm going to be way far in the back line. So basically, it necessitates this Wind Ranger to hold dust in place of like one of these items, you know? And don't get me wrong, like if I was playing the Wind Ranger this game, my goal would be finding the Oracle in team fights, right? I would get Blink Dagger. I don't know why she's building this axe. I'd get Blink Dagger and I would carry dust and I would snipe. I would be, you know, blinking and shackle shotting and dusting the Oracle to kill him every single team fight. But she does not do that. And so in team fights, I am basically able to cast all of my spells with complete and total impunity, because if they ever go on me, if one of their heroes ever goes on me, because don't get me wrong, I'm going to be playing so far back in the team fight that only one of their heroes will ever be able to find me. And that's going to be the hero that isn't playing frontline. That's going to be probably the Wind Ranger or the Tusk. One of those 2 heroes is going to have to come, or wait rather for a fight to break out and go super far into the back line and find me and burst me down. And this Glimmer Cape just makes me so much more difficult to burst down, right? Because it gives me that innate magic resistance against their spells, 15%. It gives me invisibility, which is very, very, very important. And it also gives me some extra magic resistance on top of that, a lot of extra magic resistance on top of that, 45% to be exact, for when I do get gone on and use it on myself. It's just a very powerful item. Also, you can, did I mention you could use it on your team, right? It's like such, like, look at this, look at this. Look at this fucking nonsense. I'm coming over here and I mean, we don't even have vision. I should have vision, by the way. I think we have wards in stock. Yeah, we have a ward in stock. I should be buying that shit out and faring. Like, we should have vision of this area for sure. But this Luna comes over and tries to start this fight off with her Hurricane Pike BKB Eclipse combo by killing us. And I just Glimmer Cape myself and I'm totally fine. Why am I totally fine? Because, like, she doesn't want to hold dust, right? Her between Hurricane Pike, this Wraith Band, her Mask of Madness, Wand, Power Treads, of course, BKB, like, she can't hold dust, right? Or she can. If I was playing Luna, I would honestly carry dust instead of this Wraith Band. I would not worry about being able to out man fight the PL, because this fight and all fights are going to be won based on whether or not they can kill me and Void Spirit. And I will tell you, when you're trying to kill at least Oracle, you're gonna need dust. Like, I have Glimmer Cape, you can't see me. But either way, Luna pops BKB in her Eclipse and she's not able to kill anybody with that. And with that, right, with her not being able to kill anybody with both her BKB and her Eclipse popped, she can't fight. She cannot enter team fights because Void Spirit and PL are gonna just completely wreck house, right? And so she has to back off. And because she backed off, the Tusk overextension was free. It was like, Tusk, you're dead here. Like, you don't have your Luna, right? Your Doom doesn't want to go in because your Luna can't go in. So who's he going to Doom? Like, he could Doom our Void Spirit and then just die because they can't kill him. And like, you're seeing that, right? So their team is trying to contest our, this is just such a, I just love Glimmer Cape, man. This is just so beautiful. And honestly, a huge mistake in overcommitment by the Luna, to be fair. But like, this play right here just like loses them the game. Because it doesn't matter that Luna has her night vision and she's like, I see the Oracle and Earthshaker, I see their supports, I'm gonna go kill their supports. It doesn't matter. It's like, I'm safe. And then I could have ulted this guy. I was thinking about it. I make a magic mine. I honestly should have turned around and used it way, way sooner. I was just concerned that I was going to die, but I shouldn't have been. I should have turned around and cast my Fate Seed way, way sooner. But either way, like, I can't die to her, and he can't die. The Earthshaker can't. Right, or if he can, and I don't think he does die. Yeah. And because of that, Luna's BKB and Eclipse just got popped. And so we're just fine. They can't fight. She doesn't have spells. She doesn't have BKB. She doesn't want to fight. And so now we just walk into Roche, and how are they going to contest this? They don't have Luna. And so again, like, I ask you, like, how are they going to contest this? Are they going to just do my Void Spirit, and then I'm just going to, like, heal him up or make him fine? I'm going to disarm your Wind Ranger? Right? Are you going to go on me, and then you're just both going to die? Also, Doom has this Radiance. I just don't know why he built Radiance. I think it was for PL. Maybe he should have, you know, not bought Radiance. But, like, either way, they're trying to come in. Luna, yet again, just, you can't kill me, bro. Got Glimmer Kit. And we just clean up all their heroes. And if you don't, when you want to talk about game-losing fights, this is honestly just a good demonstration of it. But a lot of this is just like the strength of Glimmer Cape, so to speak. Sorry. So, anyways. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't really explain spell usage too much. It's kind of funny. I said this is going to be an Oracle-centered video. I'm not talking about the hero himself. I'm just talking about support, generic support items that are good, like Glimmer Cape. So, let me rewind way back to the start of the fight. We'll times 2 it a little bit here. So, As I'm approaching this fight, I honestly think I make a huge mistake. I don't think I should have came in through this avenue. I think this was a poor area for me to go in just because of how little vision we have. Imagine if instead of Luna, they used like Wind Ranger or Tusk to go on me here, right? I could have been in a lot of trouble, especially since, well, he doesn't. I don't know why this Tusk doesn't have Dust. But if this Tusk had Dust and Luna went on me here, I would have died. But instead, he just has an Orb of Venom, and he decided to stick around here instead of going with his Luna, and so they're not able to kill me. So I'm going to say I got lucky, because I still could have died despite how strong Glimmer Cape is as an item. But I do think my positioning was poor. I think the way that I went in through the river, I should have gone up on the high ground, because I do have the cast. Like, I'm sitting here jacking off how strong Aether Lens is, and I'm not even using it to its fullest strength, right? The strength of Aether Lens is that I can cast spells almost from the high ground over here into Roche Pit. Like, I just need to walk down like right here, and I can cast spells on these kinds of heroes. But the only thing that makes me safe doing that is if I have vision of like this high ground area to see whether or not these heroes are coming in to kill me. And going through this river doesn't lend itself to me being super strong. Maybe I should have considered smoking over here. That would have been a powerful thing that I could have done. Instead, I just kind of like walk under vision because Luna has night vision and almost die. I end up casting my ulti on myself and healing myself up. And I even cast my salve on myself because, again, all damage is halted when Oracle is under the effect of his ulti. So if you have like a salve that you carry from like a shovel, then what you can do is ulti yourself, double yourself, heal yourself with your Purifying Flames, pop yourself on yourself, or just pop yourself at the very beginning of your ulti because it takes 11 seconds to tick down, and you know, you want to get that immediately going, and you're just going to basically be full health every time. So after I do that, after I heal myself with those abilities, I then start to cast my abilities on the Tusk again, and Tusk is dead. Nothing really too special to it, right? I'm just getting gone on, so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to make sure I stay alive. And so I do. This Void Spirit played really amazingly this game, to be honest with you. He was just doing a good job of zoning the, I think it was the Coddle there that he was zoning out of the fight. No, the Luna there. After the Luna had used BKB, he chased her down so she couldn't re-enter the fight. And here I just channel my root on the Doom. The cool thing about Oracle Root is that, or Oracle's Fortune's End, is that well, one of the cool things is it's undisjointable, or not able to be disjointed. So when you channel it on somebody, everybody knows. You know, your teammates know, if they know this, and the enemies know they cannot disjoint the ability through traditional means. They have to go like Tusk Snowball, for instance. They have to either go under the effects of Hidden or Invulnerable or something like that if they don't want to be affected by Fortune's End. So when you channel this ability, and especially when you channel it for its maximum duration, that hero knows that you're channeling it against. They have to make a choice. Like, okay, do I continue posturing aggressively, knowing that a 2.5 second root is about to come hit me, or 2.9 seconds when you take the talent, and I do recommend taking the talent. It's a really, really good talent, 0.4 seconds Fortune's End duration. It even applies to the minimum root duration. So even if you flick it, like you just EQ somebody and then you immediately break the Q just to get the dispel on them immediately, like you're at least going to root them for about 1 second. This talent is really good, guys. Okay, don't sleep on it. But if I channel it for its full duration, all of a sudden it's nearly 3 seconds. It's a 3 second root that's going to get applied to you. And again, you can't do anything about that. You can't blink dagger. You can't, you know, force staff or anything like that. Like, you can't do anything about that. You're just going to eat that shit. So it makes them make a difficult decision the more that you channel it. And so when I channel it against this Doom, like, he has to make the decision, you know, do I want to walk forward and try to contest this Roshan knowing that I'm going to get rooted for 3 seconds or not? And so in this case, he opted to stay around. Ended up killing him. Wind Ranger goes in with her BKB, but I think she ulted. I can't remember who she ulted. What did she ult here? She was ulting her ult. Oh no, she used it on the Void Spirit, but Void Spirit went Aeon Disc, so he couldn't get bursted down immediately. And then he just got slowed, or she just got slowed by the Void Spirit, and she just got kited out basically. And then now Luna's gonna die. This is just a really good cleanup. We even got Roshan. Like I said, if you want to talk about a game-winning fight, this was it. And a lot of it boiled down to them making mistakes, not having dust on their supports, namely Tusk, me having Glimmer Cape and not being able to get popped. Same thing with Earthshaker not being able to get popped by Luna's ulti. Just poor decisions made on their core's part, on their core's behalf, and intelligent decisions being made by ours. Either way, when you win a fight like that, usually you get a big pile of gold. In this case, I got 2,000, so I'm going to work towards a Yule's. Yule's is good when you have Force Staff because you can purge dust. It's also good against Tusk Snowball because you can prevent basically all of his burst damage. Like when he's rolling in on you, you can Yule's yourself up in the air and then Force Staff yourself, or not Force Staff yourself, Glimmer Cape yourself when you come back down. and unless he dusts. So essentially what the combo is you Yules yourself up in the air as Tusk is rolling in on you, and then the snowball completes, but it doesn't stun you, so you're not going to get stunned. If he dusts you immediately, as you're coming back down, he can Walrus Punch you before you pop your ulti on yourself. However, Walrus Punch probably isn't going to kill you in and of itself, but if you get Walrus Punched as an Oracle and he has any other hero with him, he's probably going to be able to kill you. But if it's just Tusk, then what you can do is you can pop your ulti on yourself as you're Glimmer Caping yourself, and you should be totally fine, because your ulti also, again, applies a strong dispel. You can Q yourself too. That's another thing, is you can actually, instead of ulting yourself, I think what you should do is when you're Yulesed up in the air, Tusk is coming over, he's snowballing in, snowball misses, so there's no stun on the snowball. What you should do is, if while you're up in the air spinning, he casts Dust on you, because Dust does affect targets that are cycloned. As you're coming back down, you should immediately Glimmer Cape yourself, like queue up the Glimmer Cape, because you can queue up items when you're under the effects of Yules, even if it's your own Yules. You queue up the Glimmer Cape so it immediately casts itself on yourself, and then queue yourself immediately afterwards. So your Q will purge the dust, and then you'll be invisible even while you're flying up in the air, because you're still going to get hit by his Walrus Punch, because you're going to show like the invisibility has a 0.6 second delay. It's got the fade time, and when you cast your Q on yourself, you do show yourself from invisibility. So you will still probably get punched, but again, like, you're going to purge the dust off of yourself, and it'll just give you time to react. Don't cast Fortune's End on yourself, because the cast time is too long. Although there is some merit to casting Fortune's on yourself, or not Fortune's, False Promise on yourself. There is some merit to casting False Promise on yourself, because it will keep you alive, so to speak. Like, no matter what, you are living for the duration of False Promise if you cast it on yourself, whereas Fortune's End does not keep you alive. It's just that Fortune's End is more immediate. Like, Fortune's End has a smaller cast time than False Promise does. So if you could purge the dust, because the dust is what's going to kill you in that situation, and the dust is purgeable via both of your abilities, but one of them comes out quicker. Anyways, here I gotta explain this. We make a huge mistake. We overstay here. So here, we won that fight at Roshan, and we immediately go and try to fight. Or not try to fight, we go to try and pressure their high ground. We shouldn't have done this. There's two other tier 2s that we could have pressured. And if nothing else, we could have just farmed. Either way, right? Like, either way, I'm super, super low on mana. And the enemy has all of their ultis. Well, they have Doom. They have one of their 3 big teamfight ultis, right? And that's enough if they landed on a key target. So me being low on mana here really sucks. I got clarity by my Void Spirit. I think I waste some mana, which is definitely a poor play on my part. I'm standing here super, super safe. Peel's getting gone on. Earthshaker lands a pretty damn good dunk. But here's that juicy Ignis Fatuus. So they did actually have Ignis Fatuus, or Will-O-Wisp. It was just coming off cooldown. And yeah, so they did have all of their ultis coming off cooldown. Peel gets gone on, but they don't have to commit anything other than Coddle's ulti to Peel. And then he overextends after he respawns. And so now Nature's Prophet gets doomed. They don't even need to commit any spells on Peel because he's just so overcommitted on their team. Basically, we just overextended. I think this was not a terrible play for us to make, even though I'm low on mana, if we play this smart. I would have much preferred, though, to just shift bottom, shift top, take those towers, and take over their map with this Aegis. You don't need to get Aegis and immediately go high ground. High ground is not something that you need to force anymore, especially with Aegis. Like, Aegis is so powerful that even if you don't go high ground, in fact, especially if you don't go high ground, because when you go high ground, you're like forcing the enemy's hands. You're basically saying, hey, like, can you guys take a good fight on high ground? The answer is usually yes. High ground is an amazing place for any team to defend on. But can you take a good fight even though we have Aegis? And sometimes the answer to that question for the enemy team is going to be yes. Sometimes the enemy team does have either A, low cooldown spells that they can use on you repeatedly throughout the course of a fight, such that your Aegis, even when you're using it to push it into high ground, isn't enough to actually break their high ground. Like, they're going to have something like Axe Call, where they blink Axe Call, and then the Axe lives throughout his initial call and kills your carry in the duration of his call, such that when you're respawning with Aegis, he can just blink call you again, and they just kill you with the same formula, right? That's one thing that could happen, and that's not exactly what happened here. So just explaining it again, here they have long cooldown abilities that are very powerful that guarantee that they win a fight if they use them correctly, usually, right? We also have a long cooldown ability. We have like Echo Slam. Echo Slam is a game-winning fight, or a fight-winning ability. You can win a fight with Echo Slam. But they have more of them, right? They have Doom that they can slam on our PL or a Void Spirit, right? They have Eclipse that they can use to pop either one of those heroes that gets doomed. They have Will-O-Wisp to set all this shit up. Like, they can win a fight with these abilities off cooldown, and they have all of them off of cooldown. We should not fight if they have them all on cooldown, off cooldown, and we knew that. We knew that they had these abilities coming up off cooldown because the last time they used it was 100 seconds ago at this Roshan fight. So we shouldn't be trying to force this. But even still, we fight a pretty good fight, all things considered. Like, we hit a pretty good Echo Slam. It doesn't kill anybody, but it gets them all really, really low, especially Luna. And all we have to do, in my opinion, is not overextend, right? Because, like, Windranger has her BKB committed. Like, we just don't overextend here and we're fine. Instead, PL does rush in on the Coddle and gets bursted down here. And that was his biggest mistake. I don't know if he was expecting my ulti, but I was kind of out of range, and generally speaking, our team was out of position here. And so this fight just ends up being really, really bad. So I think I hit my ulti on the Nature's Prophet there, and I tried to heal him up. I should not have even tried to heal him up. Yeah. I had ulted him the second he got doomed when he had his BKB popped. I should have just, like, I should have said fuck healing this guy. I ulted him. No. I remember this fight. I ulted a PL illusion. Ah, goddamn. I remember this fight. Okay. It doesn't even matter that I ulted a PL illusion. This was going to be a bad fight no matter what, I'm pretty sure. Right? Because Luna still has Eclipse. So you could say, like, if you landed your ulti on the Prophet, he would have lived for 8 seconds so he could sit there and right-click down the Doom or something like that. Maybe you guys could have changed the course of the fight. It's very possible that is the case, right? If this guy wasn't disarmed right now and he was just able to live for an extra 8 seconds, maybe we actually do change this fight into a good fight. I don't know. It is possible. Either way, I know one thing. PL overextended. I know that for sure. We shouldn't. I'm not blaming him. Again, the guy's on my friends list. I'm not trying to flame him. I guess I am blaming him, but I'm not trying to flame him or anything like that. I'm just saying that's one thing that definitely could have created a better condition for a fight is if we just simply didn't overextend. And then also, we're fighting into all of their big team fight ultis. Not necessarily high ground, so it could have been a good fight, but we're doing that when we don't need to do that. We could have just gone towards their side lane tier 2s, right? Which you might argue, oh, that creates a better condition for a fight because Wired, isn't it true that fighting under tier 2s is really hard this patch? They have 172 damage. You can glyph them to make them do a bunch of damage, right? The enemy team probably has their glyph up. Like, why would you want to do that? And you can argue that, but I would say that with Aegis, we can just, if we reset there, get mana on my hero, because my hero was really low on mana. See, I died with, like, no mana. I was really low on mana, and I think we were still waiting. No, we still had Echo Slam up. But yeah, just me getting mana alone would have changed that fight. And then also, of course, us casting our spells better would have changed the course of that fight. So I certainly made a mistake false promising the PL illusion instead of the Nature's Prophet. I also disarmed the Nature's Prophet after I burned my false promise on a PL illusion. I was like, well, fuck, this guy's doomed. He needs healed up. Shouldn't have done that. Should have, first of all, of course, casted the false promise on the Nature's Prophet. If a bunch of PL illusions are like blurring or obscening your vision, what you can do is just click the ability on the hero portraits. That's guarantees that you cast it on the right target. I don't usually do that, but that is something you can do. I do sometimes do that when I am playing with heroes like PL or Chaos Knight that have just a bunch of illusions that like obscure the fight. But another thing is, I often do this, I should not have cast Fiat Edict on my Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet, at this stage of the game, definitely does a lot of right-click damage, right, with his Orchid and BKB and shit like that, and int shreds. Like, this hero's hitting for 220 damage. Letting him right-click that Doom there, or the Luna, might have been the difference between us getting enough damage off to kill them and change that fight into like a 3 for 3 instead of a 1 for 3 or 4, or however many of us ended up dying there. So yeah, those are the two big mistakes that I think I made that fight. I definitely think, though, that PL overextended. I think you could argue, right? You could argue, like, Wired, if you got your ulti off on PL, maybe you could have changed the course of that fight. Maybe true, and I do have a lot of cast range, but I don't have so much cast range that it's, like, enough to justify me putting myself, like, basically in, like, super hardcore jeopardy to cast it on this PL, right? Even if I pop my ulti on the PL when he's getting bursted down like that, like, it's very possible that I end up getting bursted because I'm super hardcore out of position. And he ends up like not being able to do all that much because your ulti only purges them once. Like, he could still get locked down with a bunch of crowd control, and he ate a bunch of crowd control throughout the duration of that fight. Like, he ate part of a Coddle ulti, then he ate Walrus Punch, and then he ate like a Luna stun, and then I think he got shackled. I'm not sure. All I know is he was eating a bunch of CC, and he was just way further than he needed to be. Okay, sorry. So anyways, we all respawn, and then I get, this is a play that I make sometimes as support that I think is somewhat underrated. I'm still trying to decide whether or not I like that I do this, but when wards are kind of piling up because you're fighting a lot and you're not able to get a lot of wards down, what I'll often do is, you know, you have a bunch of wards in your inventory. I'll just try to like make a smoke play or a glimmer cape play where I can place these wards in defensive position. In this case, I have a smoke in my backpack and I'm like, I don't want to waste the smoke for this if I can help it. But like, let's just look at the enemy vision, right? I think this is bad because of course they're going to have wards up themselves. Now they can't see me, I don't think. If we check the fog for Radiant, they don't have vision here. Did they? Did they own this outpost? Yeah, they did own this outpost, but this outpost, you can hold Alt and see whether or not the outpost is giving you vision. So I place a ward up here. Then I come into this jungle and I place a ward right here. And then I think I place a ward like over here. But I do all this from smoke. Sorry. Fog for both teams. Yeah, I place a sentry here. And all I'm trying to do right here, essentially all I'm trying to do, people overcomplicate this super hard, right? I'm just trying to get vision down for my team. I didn't buy a Calling Blade this game. Probably should have, but I'm just trying to get wards on the map that are hard to find. Like they will essentially have a low chance of getting dewarded unless we fight a fight there, and then, you know, we make plays happen that would indicate that we have a ward there. But at that point, it's too late. It's like, haha, we have a ward there, but we're winning the team fight because of it. So yeah, you can deward me, but like we're gonna win this team fight. So I'm trying to get hard to find wards out that will win us a team fight, perhaps, that also help us enable a team fight to begin, right? Which means warding aggressively. And just to go back to player perspective, what that means is placing wards. Like right here is a pretty good one because it scouts the power rune. I've told you guys before, power runes are good wards to... power runes are always valuable even 33 minutes in the game. I place a ward right here. I think since Earthshaker smoked me, and also because I have a smoke in my own inventory, I think what would have been better is actually if I had, like, smoking while doing this, gotten into here, and then I placed a ward like maybe... because we already have this ward here. Maybe placing a ward like over here would have been great. Instead, I opt for going over here and sentrying this, and I think I have one more ward that I wanted to place. And yeah, so I sentry this high ground. I come over here and I sentry this high ground. And then I think I place a ward like right here, which is fine. It's fine because having vision of mid at this stage in the game, especially as nighttime approaches, is really, it's key. It's pivotal. It's just, it's really good. But there's this sentry that this ward is on. And generally you should expect that. Yeah, see, he's going to get a free D ward. So I don't necessarily hate that ward. I mean, it's common to get D-warded because it's common to just have sentries all throughout mid. So if I was going to ward here, I should have D-warded this area first or just placed a sentry and seen if they had a ward there. And maybe I should have tried to play more aggressively with it. Like instead of placing it here, I should have walked into this tree line and placed a ward right here. It's kind of dangerous. Little dangerous, but with a glimmer cape, maybe I could pull it off, right? Just walk over here, and then with my Aether Lens and my telescope, really good item on Oracle, by the way. With these two items, I can cast the ward, because wards are cast. They do have a cast range. I could cast it like right here. That would have been some sick vision. So yeah, in hindsight, I'm kind of critiquing my wards, trying to help you guys out a little bit when it comes to warding in games. Like, you want to place aggressive vision that won't get dewarded. Right here is fine, at least, because in my opinion, like it's just a good, easy to defend high ground location that they ended up having ward vision of themselves that I should have dewarded, of course. But this is good, like generically good high ground vision of a ward spot, which I think is powerful. I don't mind this ward spot because it's like it fits in that category of somewhat obscure, like not always going to be dewarded areas that can enable you to fight good team fights. And then I don't like my ward here because I didn't place a sentry with it. And then also it's kind of in a generically like easy to deward spot. This ward too to some extent, but not, I don't know, not super overtly. One thing that I am certainly learning from this is like how obvious this is when nothing is happening. So when nothing is, like nothing at all is happening around the map, and you make a play like this as a support, you should probably always do it with a ward, or sorry, with a sorry, you should have, I almost thought that I wasn't recording this entire time because I just looked over at OBS and I saw 000, but that was on the live thing. I'm not streaming, but I am recording. No, you should probably always do this with a smoke. Probably. And maybe that just indicates that like it'd be a good time to go smoke and place wards down at the same time. Generally, if people are showing on the map, I feel the urge to go smoke myself because then like I can go smoke and put wards down while my team is farming. And then if I hold a TP, then maybe I can go, you know, I can go place wards down while the enemy is trying to coordinate a gank on one of the several heroes that are showing on the map. So it's like kind of like in StarCraft. Like you don't want to just drop, like make a drop happen with like Marines or something like that. By itself, you want to like do a 2 or 3 pronged strike that divides the enemy's attention and makes them more prone to making mistakes. And that's kind of my philosophy a little bit with warding. It's like I don't just want to walk up here, you know, in what could very easily be plain vision if the enemy has wards up themselves, without at least smoking while I'm doing it, right? And I kind of broke my own rule there with that Glimmer Cape play. So I do think that little warding rotation was overall bad by me, just because of how I did it, right? This ward that I placed, I did it completely under their own vision because they ended up having a ward here. And I'm not saying this ward spot is bad at this stage in the game. I do think, again, I think maybe I'm overvaluing them a little bit, but I do think power runes are very, very underrated, especially when it comes to the mid to late game, because they can still be just as valuable. Bottles are still held at this stage in the game. A DD rune at this point in time would be worth 200 to 300 extra damage on our cores if really any of them picked it up, and it's just a very powerful rune to pick up. Every rune, honestly, at this stage in the game is still very powerful. Like, runes scale, dude. Like, DD scales. Haste scales. Like, max movement speed on PL at this stage in the game, very, very powerful. Same thing with Void Spirit. Illusion rune, right? Very, very powerful. PL, at this stage in the game, even if he just walks by without a bottle and picks it up, like, his illusions from an illusion rune would be very powerful. But also on Void Spirit, like, it'd be a good item to get to dodge Shackle Shot with, right? To dodge the projectile. To dodge Tusk coming in with a snowball, you could do that, right? It's a Manta, essentially, so you can Manta dodge. Anything you can Manta dodge, you can also dodge with illusion rune. Like, all I'm trying to say is rune scale. Runes are valuable. Watch after the runes at every stage in the game. They can win fights. They can create fights. But on top of that, like, me warding here is something I should have done, I think, in smoke. Like, at this stage in the game, the enemy's going to have wards up. You should have wards up too, but the way that you should be warding is safely. You should not be doing it in a way that reveals your wards, because if you don't have vision up at this stage in the game, because, like, you know, you're warding and your wards are getting dewarded, it can be game losing. Like, playing for 6 minutes without a ward on the map, and I think wards actually take 3 minutes to respawn, but they last like 6 or 5 minutes. Like, playing for 5 minutes at this stage in the game when the map is dark is game losing. And it happens, honestly, all the time at my bracket, where, like, I'll be playing and I'll be the offlaner, and we'll just have no wards up on the map, and I'll be like, dude, are we just not warding? Or, like, are we warding in obvious spots and getting dewarded? Like, well, what's going on here? Like, why can't I see anything on the map? And all of this is, suffice to say, like, it's very important. You just gotta have wards on. Anyways. So, we're sort of making a, like, you can see I'm moving my items around, getting the smoke in my inventory. Like, we're trying to make a bit of a play here. By the way, carrying around the shovel. If you have a shovel on your team, carry it around on 5 or 4 heroes, or 5 or 4 position heroes. Why? Because every time you dig up a bounty rune, you're giving your team at this stage in the game 100 gold, right? That's 500 gold. That could bring your team closer to buybacks. You could bring them closer to their items. Hopefully, I don't need to tell you how bounty runes are good. So just carry shovel and make use of it all throughout the game. Don't be lazy, is all I'm trying to say. Just carry it in your backpack, honestly. Either way, we're looking around the map to try to make plays. We smoke. We find a Wind Ranger. Wind Ranger immediately pops her BKB and her ulti on the Earthshaker, which means it's a great time to fight, because Wind Ranger doesn't have her ulti, right? She's going to have it up soon because I think she has Ags. No, she's going to have it up in 15 seconds. So this is 15 seconds she can't fight without her ulti, and this is like 70 seconds she can't fight without BKB, which means let's fight, guys. Wind Ranger's going to be a useless hero. You can't walk around this late into the game without a BKB in team fights. So they go on me. I don't think I needed to ulti myself here. I think Glimmer Cape was enough, especially since, again, they don't have detection. Glimmer Cape's super powerful item. I'm at 5.6 cam, nearly immortal, and heroes are still not carrying detection, guys. Let me tell you how good of an item Glimmer Cape is, even at this this bracket, right? You're in the 2 to 3k bracket, carry Glimmer Cape. You buy Glimmer Cape. It's such a strong item. But backing up a little bit, because again, I want to explain the finer nuances of this fight. We start it because they're super fucking stupid. Like, they just used ulti and BKB on Wind Ranger, and they still decide to farm this part of the map. Like, she uses these abilities, right? And after this commitment, like, they're just gathering around. It's like, hey guys, should we fight? I don't have anything. I literally can do nothing on my Wind Ranger hero. I can't ulti. I'm here for I'm a support Wind Ranger, right? I'm here for a shackle shot, and that's it. Because if you didn't know, Wind Ranger's ulti is how she's doing all of her damage, right? Like, MKB is a good item on Wind Ranger, but only because of how her ulti works. If Wind Ranger doesn't have ulti, she's a useless hero, right? If she doesn't have BKB at this stage in the game, when we have like 4 stuns, she's a useless hero. So what does that mean for the enemy team when they just BKB and use ulti on Windranger? That means don't fight for 70 seconds. What do? They stick around and posture like they want to fight, right? With no BKB, no ulti Windranger. So we just pop her ass. BKB comes out from the Nature's Prophet, so he correctly focuses down the Ignis Fatuus. And yeah, this is where I don't think I needed to ulti myself. I should have ulted my Prophet. But either way, I'm pretty sure this guy lives. I come over here. No, he doesn't live. I could have kept him alive. Instead, I was too focused on casting spells on the enemy Doom. I'm going to go back and see if I maybe played this incorrectly. This guy played really well. Everybody on my team except for Earthshaker played well. And honestly, Earthshaker played pretty well too. He just flamed me, so I'm triggered about it. Yeah, I don't think I needed to ulti myself. I think if the Glimmer Cape alone was fine. But either way, I'm sitting here, I'm worried about, casting my abilities on enemy heroes. Like, I cast my Q on this Tusk, but I think this Tusk was dead regardless to PL. I don't know if it was necessarily my root that created the kill condition here. Instead, what I should have done, I think, was focus my Fate's Edict and Fortune's End on Nature's Prophet. And if Prophet had lived here, this could have been GG in and of itself. Like, all 5 of their heroes would have lived, and we would have cleaned up 3, I think 4. I think we killed this Luna too, I'm not sure. No, I don't think we find her. But yeah, if Prophet had lived here, like, he could have TP'd bottom, cleared out that creep wave. He could have TP'd mid immediately afterwards. He could have ulted. Like, there's so many different things that could have happened if Prophet had lived and if I had saved my spells for him, such that the course of this game would have been different. So I definitely made a mistake. Instead, without Prophet, our waves simply aren't pushed out. And that's one of the strengths of Prophet, and that's, again, why if he had lived, this game would be a lot different. If he had lived in that fight, this game would be going a lot differently, because we could be pushing right now, right? He could have... I set it up before, but he could have TP'd bottom, pushed out that wave. We could have orchestrated a push on either of those tier 2s. Instead, we kind of back off. Their respawn timers are low enough, and we just go back to farming. But yeah, as Oracle, you got to recognize that, like, your ulti is so powerful, and with an Aether Lens and a Glimmer Cape, you're super safe. You should just play super far back and save your spells for reactionary plays, right? Any fight you fight where you cast your ulti on yourself, you should see as a mistake, because it's like, your ulti's so powerful if you cast it on a core, especially a core like Nature's Prophet, especially a core like Phantom Lancer, especially a core like Void Spirit. These heroes that can do high amounts of damage all throughout the course of the fight, even Void Spirit. A lot of people sleep on this hero's damage. This hero does a lot of damage, especially throughout the course of a fight where he's able to cast his spells multiple times, right? These spells have low cooldowns and do a lot of damage. Like, it's just very, very powerful to keep those heroes alive for an extra 9-10 seconds, which is the duration of your ulti mid to late game. And you should see yourself as like an extension of those heroes. Like, you're not just a support hero with a stun, right? You aren't a support hero with a stun. You don't have a stun. Without Ags, you don't have a stun. But yeah, you're not just a hero that like has generically good crowd control or whatever. Like, you also have this ability that keeps your team alive for 8 seconds. And so you'll see here, I cast my ulti on my Nature's Prophet, and they can sit here and focus him with Windranger, Focus Fire, and Tusk all they want. We're still doing a lot of damage. Like, him staying alive for as long as he did, even though I didn't heal him at all, and I shouldn't have. I couldn't, because he was BKB'd. But even if I could have healed him, it's still a mistake, right? Because at that point, he's dead. When he's getting Focus Fired by Windranger for, 5-6 seconds, I know that hero's dead. The most important thing to do there is just have him do as much damage through right clicks as he possibly can, and then cast my spells on the enemy, right? Because then we can kill them. He can focus them down. He's dead no matter what. I can help focus them down, and they can all die. So yeah, they may focus down my Prophet, and he's going to die there no matter what, but we kill 4 for 1, right? Because of how much Windranger and Tusk overcommitted onto them after they, felt the need to. And then Luna even comes in BKBs and ultis just to guarantee the Prophet, and because she thinks it's a good fight. But it's like, nope. Nope, it's not, sir. Ma'am. Madam. This is not a good fight. Her illusions, by the way, are just chopping my ass up. But it's all good. So there's the 4-for-1 team fight that we wanted to take. But again, Prophet died, so we can't push our waves out. It's just so unfortunate that we keep fighting these fights without corrected creep waves. It's one of the sort of disadvantages of the way that we're playing the game right now, is we're not dealing with our creep waves and then looking for fights. We're just kind of looking for fights a little bit, or running into them, stumbling into fights. So we are going to be able to threaten Rax here, especially since we have Glyph to keep this creep wave alive. We don't really need it, though. It's just like, it's nice that, like, we get basically an extra 15 to 20 seconds after Coddle blasts this creep wave, and Coddle's taking a long time to blast it, but so Coddle kills the creep wave just died, but we still have like an extra 15 seconds now if we want to pressure this creep wave, except for the fact that Wind Ranger just bought back. So with Wind Ranger buying back, it makes this kind of awkward because they have all of their ultis up. They didn't use Doom last fight, we knew that. They didn't use Coddle's ulti, we knew that, right? The only thing they're missing is their Luna here. I was actually pretty sure that we could win a fight without their Luna, but my team said, yeah, let's just play it safe, and I was kind of forced to agree with them, so we did. It's fine though. This gives me a time to get into their jungle, get a bunch of D wards down to see if they have any vision. For my own purposes, I'm going to check to see if they have any vision in this jungle, and they actually do. They have a ward right where my ward was or is. I have a ward here, and they actually placed a ward there, so I should have de-warded that. Again, this is a good ward spot, guys, because it's hard to. I think their ward is a little bit poorly placed because I think a sentry here can see it. No, it can't. So yeah, both these spots are pretty good ward spots. They can't be de-warded by this. Although they are becoming at higher brackets, especially I've noticed, like more popular in the sense that they are becoming popular de-ward spots because people know that this is a ward spot that dodges this and this, like as sentry locations, and give pretty good vision. So it's not like they're predictable somewhat. They're not as predictable as the high ground locations, but they're still they're basically just as, because like people have become so conditioned to them. But they're still pretty good ward spots. Just not like, they're not the next level Quelling Blade ward spots that I showed you guys in my last video. But either way, I digress. The point behind us playing here is because they don't have their Luna, they can't really fight outside of base. And this gives us an opportunity to place a bunch of sentries in their jungle and see if we can't find their wards and get rid of them. In retrospect, I think, especially with this much gold, I should have considered buying a gem. I don't know. Sometimes I buy a gem at stages like this in the game, and I just die and throw the game with it. But I don't know. I was feeling pretty powerful this game, like in terms of my overall survivability. I think it could have been really nice if I had just bought a gem here and just basically carried it around and just de-warded them constantly. Like, cause like right here, I'm just sitting right under a ward, and it feels bad, man. Knowing that hindsight being 2020. If anything, this is just encouraging me to like play support better. It's like, see, I carry out 7 sentries, and like this is enough. These are enough sentries to just start warding up their entire jungle, right? And you can see I do that. So I place a D ward there. I find this ward that they placed. I did not expect them to. Yeah, sorry, that was a D ward. That was a sentry, right? This is just bad warding by me, I think. Straight up bad warding. I place a ward here, and I don't even know how we have vision of this ward. I don't think we do. I think I just guess a sentry right here. Yeah, I guess a sentry right here, and then I'm like, okay, well, that's sweet. They have a sentry here. So there's a pretty good chance that they're going to come by and de-ward me now, because I de-warded that sentry, and I had high ground vision of that area. Then I place a ward right here. This ward is, I think, pretty good, because I don't think they see it firstly and foremostly. Yeah. They do have vision in here somehow. Because of this ward. Fuck. Wait, what? I'm so confused, dude. This is... I hate Valve's replay system. Not fog for both teams. Player perspective. Them. Okay. So here's their vision. Fog the radiance. I'm sorry I'm over... Not over. I'm sorry I'm focusing on this, but I just really want to find out for my own purposes. So let me just, okay, so this is when so again, this ward area, I definitely should have de-warded. They see me walking all around here. They know what I'm doing. They see me like, you know, when you walk through as a support, their jungle, when they see you under a ward several times, it means, hey guys, I'm warding the shit out of your shit. I'm warding the shit out of your shit. I'm warding your entire jungle up. So definitely a pretty big mistake on my part. But these wards that I set up, if I could have concealed them better, I think were pretty good. It's fucked with the fog on both teams. But I bring up these... This is so fucking funny. I aggro these catapults. I don't even know why or how. I mean, I know that I Purifying Flames them, but I aggro them all the way up here, and they just single-handedly clear my sentry. and then the Earthshaker's sitting here pinging this sentry spot. But I have him muted because he was flaming me earlier. But I know for my own purposes too. I'm like, oh my fucking god, they have that shit de-warded. Or they have that shit warded. Whatever. That was some derpy ass shit. That was probably... I want to say that's the worst... Like, That's the most evident display that I haven't conceptualized warding nearly as much on support as I should have. Maybe it taints the replay analysis a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. This going on an hour and 30-minute long replay analysis at this point, like that little warding fiasco, that little house on fire warding situation that I found myself in, looking back on it, especially with all the vision that I have, like. I'm just glad that I do this because, man, looking at your own replays is so much more educational than you might give it credit for if you never do it. Like I'm fortunate to be able to do it for you guys, so like I get content out of it as well. But it's just like it's so eye-opening to see how derpy that looked from like a bird's eye perspective, and knowing that I can go into my next game and think, okay, I'm just gonna play super fucking cautious with my wards. They're super important. And it's super important to make sure that not only are you getting vision down on the map in a safe and like secure manner in the sense that it's not seen by the enemy team, but that also you're not doing it in obvious places, like incredibly obvious places, which I kind of broke both those rules in this game. So I'm glad that I watched this replay to learn that, so to speak. Anyways, after that boarding fiasco, we decided to go for Roche. They're pressuring our tier 2. I think they get it, but I think the reward of Roche is more than makes up for it. So Windranger committing to that tower especially tells us, hey, this Roche is free. So if they go to fight it, we can win any fight. Right, so Tusk is snowballing in and dying. He buys back and joins the fight. They Ignis Fatus and do the thing. Sorry. They Ignis Fatus or Will-O-Wisp our I think that was our Void Spirit in our PL there. Let me just watch this fight and tell you guys what was going through my mind. Firstly and foremostly, you should know that Oracle is one of the few supports that has a lot to add to Roshan. You're kind of like, I mean, you're not like Ogre Magi, like where you can Bloodlust your carry and give him like 100 attack speed and make him take it like 10 times as fast. But you can disarm the Roche, and you can pop its Lincolns repeatedly, right? You can always pop Roche's Lincolns, and you can disarm it for 4.5 seconds. Or status resistance, you can pop it for disarm it for like 2 seconds or 3 seconds or whatever, which is good. It keeps your team, it's sustained basically. It reduces the amount of damage that your team's going to take. So then, like while we're taking it, Tusk engages, dies, buys back, and TPs into the fight. So we're essentially fighting a 4v5 while Windranger is trying to pressure our racks here, right? It's still a good fight no matter how bad this goes because we're like in such an advantageous situation with Windranger pressuring our racks, or at least it has the potential to be as long as we push our buttons correctly. In this situation, I get really scared, so I ulti. I think that was meant for my Void Spirit, but then he uses himself. So I ulti my PL. Yules is really bad to use against Caudal ulti because you Yules yourself and then you're getting Caudal ulted, you're getting stunned basically, you're getting like drawn or taunted to the Ignis Fatus. You Yules yourself and then you come down and you get taunted again. So I think that was a mistake on Void Spirit's part to Yules himself there. I think he should have just instantly Astral stepped out, assuming he had it off cooldown. But either way, I ulted the PL and I wanted to ulti the Void Spirit because PL was safe here no matter what. All he had to do was just walk away and he was fine. Like Void Spirit is squishier than PL essentially is what I'm trying to say. So so with Void Spirit dead here, and I was telling him the second he died, I was like, Void Spirit, just buy back. Like this is the most important fight of the game. It's over Roshan. But he doesn't buy back immediately and TP in. I don't know if he had TP. If he didn't have TP, okay, I was gonna say if he didn't have TP, it's somewhat understandable why he didn't, but he just should have bought back and immediately TP'd in my opinion. That's a straight up mistake on his part. But either way, as this fight's developing and he eventually does buy back, like I'm getting gone on here. I'll explain. I'll try to pick up from where we left off. So Void Spirit getting doomed, dies. I'm backing off, then PL's manning up, so I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna start casting my spells, right? Keep casting your spells. It's one of the signs of a really good support is the difference between you casting your spells, one rotation of your spells throughout a team fight versus 5, versus 6, versus 7. Every time I cast my Q, I'm throwing out at least a 1-second root that deals 210 damage. Not that significant, but when comboed, especially with my E, I'm doing a lot of damage, and I'm giving a lot of crowd control to my team, which is desperately needed against their team comp, right? So the PL can stick on them, right? Furthermore, I have Fate's Edict, which I can use on, say for instance, Luna, say for instance, Windranger, like basically a Heaven's Halberd that I get a cast for free. So here I'm getting gone on. I should have immediately Fate's Edict this guy, but I think in my mind I was thinking, okay, the only way they're seeing me right now, aside from the fact that they could have a sentry on the ground, which they definitely should, and I'm not necessarily sure if they do. I gotta check. They don't actually have a sentry. They have a sentry right here, I think. But the only way they're seeing me right now and thus killing me is if I am dusted, which the Tusk did dust me. So I was like, okay, let me just Glimmer Cape and then Yules myself to purge the dust, and then I should be safe here. But instead of doing that, I think I should have just Fate's Edict. I need to value Fate's Edict a lot more. Like, Fate's Edict... Imagine if I just slap Fate's Edict on that guy. I'm totally fine there. But either way. And then I ult myself and heal myself, right? Because the Luna bubble or whatever. I honestly didn't play this fight that great, looking back at it. Like, I said this was going to be an Oracle replay analysis, but... Like, especially my ulti there and me TPing back to base after the fight was getting drawn out. I think I made 2 pretty big mistakes there through, again, ulting myself and then TPing back to base. Should have tried to stay back. I was running low on mana, so I was kind of scared, but either way, I'm pretty sure I played that fight poorly, or at least less than optimally. But I think the biggest sign of that fight going well, I don't want to say well, but like well enough maybe, like somewhat well in our favor, was the fact that I was able to get as many spells off as I was before I did eventually dip out. I mean, that was one of the signs of that fight going well, is like how long the supports are living. Like if the supports being, you know, in this game, Tusk and Caudle for their team, and then of course Oracle and Earthshaker for our team, like how long throughout the duration of a fight am I able to get off Fate's Edict, Fortune's End combos, right? How long throughout the duration of a fight is Earthshaker able to fissure you? Like, are we able to get 2 fissures off in a fight, even though the spell has a 15-second cooldown? Like, is he able to cast it 3-4 times throughout a fight? Like, is a fight developing over the course of 40 seconds and he can get 2 or 3 god fissures off? Like, should have focused the Earthshaker earlier, obviously. Right, and then for Caudle, like how many blinding lights is he able to cast throughout the duration of a fight, right? How many times is he able to give a hero chakra magic, or place chakra magic on the enemy team? Like give one of his allies chakra magic, thus reducing the cooldown of their abilities and making their hero more effective, or, you know, stifling the enemy mid laner by draining all of their mana away. Again, I just want to stress that like supports living for a long duration isn't useless. It's not like just because your hero does very little damage from from a right-clicking perspective doesn't mean that your hero is useless, even in the mid to late game, because your spells are just so powerful and they provide so much utility. Most people know that. I just thought I'd, you know, make it as evident as possible. But either way, I come back to the fight after I TP back into the base because the fight is still developing. They're down 2 supports. We're down our mid lane. They get Roche. I think they take the cheese, or maybe Void Spirit gets it. If Void Spirit gets it, he's a god. He's actually a god. He took the cheese. Would have been amazing if he got Aegis, but I can't blame him for that. He got the cheese. Aegis, I think, went on Luna. Yep, it went on Luna, but we're able to kill her here. So we have enough disable and damage. Mostly because of this Prophet, honestly. Now I'm trying to sit here and heal the Void Spirit, but she has BKB, so we just need to back. Like, there's no way we're killing her. Especially given how low our heroes are. Here I heal myself, but Doom's going in without anybody else. Could have Yules myself, could have Yules the Doom, doesn't really matter though. We still end up killing him, and I think I ult him. No. I should have immediately ulted in there because he was near Luna. Again, I did not play this fight that amazingly at all. But we're able to kill her here. Because Void Spirit had cheese and he cheesed up. Yeah, really good fight. This guy played really amazingly. My entire team, again, even including Earthshaker, despite his flame, played pretty well this game. I'm not going to lie. But okay, so we win the fight, and I don't know why I'm doing this, or why we're doing this, rather. 3 heroes are dead on their team. True, like, it's just supports here, but I don't really see how we meaningfully push this. Like, you know, like, what do we do here? Like, we have a Void Spirit to hit buildings with? That's it? I don't know. It's not really... Doesn't really feel like we're going to be able to do much. PL's up here now. So now it makes a lot more sense that PL respawned. But we were like doing some weird... I guess we were just like trying to bait spells, trying to get them low. I don't know. This whole situation that we're doing here. It doesn't matter, by the way, that I use my ulti, because at level 20 I took the minus 20-second False Promise cooldown talent. Mostly because I expected fights to be long and drawn out, right? They don't have very much burst damage. We don't have... we have Earthshaker, but like... Besides Earthshaker, like, we don't have a significant amount of burst damage. Like, the way fights are going in this game are like very sustained and very drawn out. So instead of taking the False Promise Invisibility cooldown talent, or sorry, Invisibility talent, which I do think is good, I opted for the cooldown talent, which brings this ability down to a 25-second cooldown. It basically means that you can actually cast False Promise twice in a fight if the fight goes on long enough. So that's what I opt for this game. And I think we dip out there because we were getting scared. I think our high ground push in general here was bad. We should have been taking these tier 2s. It's like it's 45 minutes in this game, and we've owned their side. We've owned their map for like the last 13 to 14 minutes of it, right? We have a 20k net worth advantage. Like, we definitely should have taken these tier 2s. But we did not. So, mistakes were made. Either way, all that gold that I was amounting earlier, I just invested into an Ags here. I think it's a mistake, not just because of the fact that it's Ags, but also because I bought it and now I have no buyback. So let me explain some things. Ags is not bad on Oracle. I think it can be good situationally, right? Good. It's good alone, in my opinion, for the 800 bonus cast range that it gives to your Q. It makes this an artillery spell. It basically means that it has like 16, not 16, it's like 18 or 2000 cast range. You turn into Sniper, and I'm not exaggerating. You literally turn into Sniper, right? So think of Sniper Axe and all the reasons why Sniper Axe is annoying, right? He has a 1.5 second stun that he can cast on a low cooldown from 2000 range away. It's the same thing with Oracle Axe. I'm not joking. It is literally 2000 range, cast range wise, because it gives an ability that already has like 800 cast range, an extra 800 cast range, right? And when you combine that with Aether Lens and with Telescope, it is literally 2000 range, and you'll see me abuse that later on in this game. It is undisjointable, right? Similar to Sniper Ulti, you can only disjoint it with like Blink Dagger and all that shit. You can't even disjoint Oracle Q, as I pointed out earlier, unless you have a way to go hidden through like Shadow Demons, Shadow Prison, or not Shadow, Disruption, that's one way, Phase Shift, Astral Imprisonment, like those are the only ways that you can dodge this ability. And then furthermore is stuns, like it turns Fortune's End into a stun for half the duration that you channel it for, right? Which if you channel it for 3 seconds, that means a 1.5 second stun essentially, or a 1.45 second stun. It's very, very powerful. Situationally, like in the games where it makes sense, it's really, really good. It's just that those games have to be, you know, games where you can feel pretty comfortable sitting back and just casting this ability and channeling it. And sometimes you can't do that because sometimes you get dove on. But this game was not a game where I was getting dove on. At least this was a game where if I got dove on, I felt comfortable having the tools that I have currently to be able to save myself. So I opted out of getting a different item instead this game, like a sheep stick or something else like that. Like I decided, you know, Glimmer Cape, Glimmer Cape, Yules, and Aether Lens are enough for me to be useful in this game. With like item utility, I'm gonna opt for an axe here so that I can turn into Sniper basically. But the thing is, here's the big caveat with axe, is when you buy it, like I did, and especially when I buy the Blessing, so I can still have item slots for my wards, which is a mistake, I think. I should have kept wards in my backpack or something along those lines, or just sold my stick or something. When you buy it like I did, where I bought the Blessing too so I can clear up inventory space, like I just said, suddenly I don't have buyback. And this late into the game, me not having buyback is critical, because my hero's amazing with buyback. I can guarantee that if I have buyback, I will have all of my abilities off cooldown, because this has a low cooldown now. Like, I can be just as useful as I normally am with buyback. If I buy back and I've already used all of my abilities. So I should definitely have buyback, and there's no reason for me not to. So I'm playing on a fucking razor thin edge here with this no buyback shit. Like, if they finally decide, hey, we should kill the Oracle, like they should have been doing this entire time, I could very well throw the game for my team. So that's the danger here of buying Ags, is that me finishing it, and especially finishing the Ags Blessing, means that I just don't have buyback, and that is something to take into account. I do think it's a mistake for me not to have buyback. At the very least, I should have, when I bought Ags, kept the Ags and not rushed the Blessing, just for convenience's sake. I was thinking, man, I really need detection in fights, right? I need to be able to immediately pop down sentry wards. But if I was really thinking that, then maybe I should have just traded out my wand. Like, wand is a good item on Oracle, but not if it means you don't have buyback or you don't have access to sentry wards when your team needs it. But either way, we engage on their two heroes, their Doom and their Tusk hero. I think my decision here to go in is actually incredibly risky and unnecessary. So we make the smoke play. I don't mind the smoke play because I have wards and I can cast them from 5,000 years away. So I can cast a ward like right here when I'm playing in a super safe position. And I channel my Q on him. He's stunned. He's stunned again because of Earthshaker. He's stunned again because of Earthshaker again. I think it was Fissure. I don't remember what. He's just stunned and rooted, and it's just super annoying to play this game because we have so many stuns and roots now, especially with my Ags. All right, gets Yulesed into a guaranteed stun, except it's not a guaranteed stun because the fucking dragon there. That sucks. But no, he gets stunned by Earthshaker, and then he gets stunned again by the Fissure. Yeah, so he gets stunned by the W, gets stunned by the Q, gets stunned by my Q. And then my decision to get in this close here was a little bit risky. I decided to just cast False Promise on this guy in case their team wanted to engage on that fight. But Wind Ranger showed bottom. It doesn't matter, though, because lo and behold, again, this talent is so broken. It turns this ability into like an every fight / twice in a fight ability. So really don't sleep on this talent. Really just don't sleep on Oracle in general. His abilities are really powerful and low cooldown. And so with those 2 picks, we can certainly push high ground. We are missing one key factor to our team fight, which is Echo Slam. Without Echo Slam, it's a little bit difficult to justify fighting a fight if these 2 heroes, or basically if one of these heroes has buyback. Like if Doom has buyback here and we don't have Echo Slam, we could engage a really, really bad fight. But neither of them have buyback, so we're safe. We needed somebody to take care of bottom Rax because since Wind Ranger took the tower earlier, she can threaten Rax now since her ulti does work on buildings and she can cast it on the Rax. So we decide to really, really, really slowly push this shit in and basically just give them time to respawn. We're kind of derping around here, honestly. I guess at least we take the tier 2. I think we make a really risky play here. Void Spirit sees somebody and he decides to kind of go hard when Doom is respawning. Yeah, Doom is respawning and we go on the Wind Ranger here. I channel a full duration Q and throw my sentry on the ground so that we can have vision of her, but then we back up because we're like Doom, 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 Doom. So we're good. So we back off, but we kind of camp. I think we camp this high ground location, which is a solid decision when we have as much vision as we did. I think something that would have made this better and something I should honestly start doing more is, especially with as much cast range as I do, is just going over here from the high ground and warding like right here. It's nice it's really nice actually if you're the aggressors and if you're able to play aggressively, essentially, if you're the aggressors and you're able to play aggressively, it's nice redundancy, to place wards outside of the enemy's base. And I don't mean like outside of the enemy's base, like right under towers, like obviously hold alt and see the cast range, right? Towers have a vision radius that goes like this. So try to like keep that in mind when I'm saying outside of their base. I don't mean like literally right here. I'm talking like outside of their base, like right here. Or like right here. I think right here is especially underrated because this is like never going to get dewarded. Nobody ever dewards right here, and you will always have good vision of people leaving their base if you ward right here. As opposed to if you ward over here, since this ward actually gives a fair amount of vision down here and a fair amount of vision into here, they will often deward this area. They might just place a sentry here, and then you're gonna get fucked no matter what because this sentry might see over here. But all I'm trying to say is having vision outside of the enemy's tower can create good kill conditions if you're trying to push into high ground and you're doing it slow. Like if you're doing it low and slow and you're trying to bait them out of their base, having vision right outside of their towers can give you vision into like right when they leave, so you can create a good kill condition right there. Anyways, we go bottom when we find and kill the Wind Ranger. I should show this. I don't think I contribute to the killing of her, so I don't think it's that significant. I think it's mostly a Prophet plus Void Spirit plus Earthshaker thing. Could be wrong. How does she actually die here? It doesn't feel like she should die here ever. We'll just look. So I'm getting wards down, yeah, and Prophet goes on her. Is Prophet just solo killer? This Prophet has MKB. Thanks, dude. Yeah, so okay, actually I remember this. He was getting gone on. I was gonna say Wind Ranger should never die to a Prophet. It should be the other way around. But then PL Ender just engages, and I remember telling him, like, dude, you gotta immediately Abyssal, and he does. It's amazing that he lived as long as he did. Prophet, I mean. I'm like 80% sure that Wind Ranger made a huge fuck up there, but no sense in stressing over it. So with that Wind Ranger kill, especially since, lo and behold, again, she doesn't have buyback. Like, the entire enemy team is playing like a bunch of 2K players right now, right? Like, none of their cores have buyback. I think she used her buyback, to be fair. No, it is available. I was going to say, I remember her using it earlier, but like that was, I guess that was like 6 or 7 minutes ago because she has it up again. She's just fighting with no buyback or making these aggressive plays with no buyback. And, you know, with her dead, we can go pressure their towers. Or look to make Roshan plays happen. Either way, they can't fight without their Wind Ranger, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So we're sitting here, we're trying to, like, kind of zone, kind of not. We're just making crazy plays. Now PL's in there solo, and I think PL dies here, or if nothing else, he gets really low. No, I remember correctly. Yeah, he doesn't die here. Does he die at all? I think my Q here was a mistake. I shouldn't have queued the PL. I should have been queuing the enemy. So Void Spirit gets doomed, and so he has to back off. And then I ulti the Earthshaker because he's getting focused, and then PL goes in after the fact, which I think is a mistake. I think this is a clear overextension on PL's part, especially since he saw me ulti the Earthshaker. There's like no save that we have for him. My decision here to heal the PL I don't think is incorrect, but PL's not going to turn around anytime soon, right? He's super low. He's just running away. So instead of using my Q on him, if you didn't know, the way Oracle's abilities work, again, I said this at the start of this replay analysis, I think, but if that was actually a different time that I was recording this video and I deleted it for whatever reason, because I've recorded this twice now, Oracle's W gives a target 100% magic damage resistance. It doesn't give them spell immunity, that's very key, but it does give them 100% magic damage resistance. What that means is when you W somebody and you follow it up with a Purifying Flames, they won't take any damage from the Purifying Flames. All they're going to receive is their healing. So it can be a good way to heal your teammates, right, in the middle of a fight. However, you need to keep in mind that this also disarms your teammates, right, for 4.5 seconds. So if you're going to cast this on somebody, make sure that it's somebody who doesn't want to, like, right-click them, the enemy as in, because oftentimes by doing this, you will actually end up fucking them over, because even though you heal them, if they can't right-click, then they can't kill the enemy that's dealing the damage to them. So they're just going to out-damage your heal against them, and they're just going to kill the enemy, or kill the person that you're trying to heal. However, you can counteract all of this by casting your Q on the ally that you Purifying Flames for, Fate's Edict Purifying Flames. Like you W, E, and then the target has a heal on them, and then you purge, or when you use your Q on them, it purges the disarm, but it doesn't purge the heal that you used. Because the way that dispels work, if you're using a dispel on an ally, it only purges the negative debuffs. It only purges negative effects. It doesn't purge positive effects. And the disarm and the magic damage element of Fate's Edict are split when it applies to an ally. So here I heal the PL, but then I make the mistake of casting Fortune's End on him when I could be channeling it on like the Doom, say for instance. And with Ags, it's really important that you're, I think, channeling Fortune's End on enemy targets. So here I'm going to correctly cast on the Coddle, and I think this late into the game, I shouldn't worry nearly as much as on burst damage as I do. I should worry more on channeling this ability up, especially with this talent that I have, this minus 1.5 seconds Fortune's End max channel time. Like, if I get the full channel duration on my Q, which now, with that talent, is only 1 second, that basically means I get a 3-second root for 1 second on a target of channeling for me. I can do it from 2,300 distance away, and to top it all off, it starts off as a 1.5 second stun. And it's undisjointable, undispellable, uneverythingable. Well, it is dispellable with strong dispels, but it's like, you saw the Coddle cast Glimmer Cape, right? Glimmer Cape usually disjoints projectiles if you don't have vision over the target. However, it doesn't work on Fortune's End because it's undisjointable. So I shouldn't be worrying about like casting Purifying Flames and trying to get a bunch of nuke damage. What I should be doing is just casting my Q every single time it's off cooldown on enemies, basically, I think. And that's the mistake I'm using. So here I cast it on an illusion to kill it, but like I shouldn't be casting it on illusions to kill the illusions, right? I should be casting this on the enemy heroes. And I think that's a mistake that I'm making in this fight. So there I cast it on her, but I don't fully channel it, and it's like kind of a mistake, I think, to not fully channel it. Either way, it results in success because we could burst her down in the duration of the stun. But like here, this is a good one, right? Because I fully channel it, gets cast on the Doom, he's stunned, and then he's rooted, and he's silenced by the Prophet. Basically means he's dead. Then this bitch comes in. She's running at the speed of crack because she has an Aghanim Scepter and the talent to... Doesn't she have like a Windrun talent? Windrun grants invisibility. Never mind. But she has Ag, so her movement speed's really quick. But it's okay because her entire team is dead. She's just respawning now from the play that she made down here. The huge throw that she made down there. Of dying and not being alive for the fight. Such that we just get to win the fight. Or rather, sorry, such that we just get to win the fight that we took earlier because Wind Ranger was dead. And we were super far ahead again, like we were 20k net worth ahead, now 35k. It's just, look, it's a good game. I didn't play amazingly. I'm glad that I watched that replay for my own purposes, but as you can see, like went 12, 6, and 31. You know, did the third most damage, I think, on my team, 24k. The only two people that beat me were Void Spirit and Nature's Prophet, interestingly enough. PL and Earthshaker did not, or Earthshaker and PL did not do more damage than I did. So yeah, love Oracle, does a lot of damage. And also Nature's Prophet kind of naturally inflates damage numbers because of his ulti. Like it just gets a free zap on basically everyone on the map. It's kind of like Zeus in a little way, so he kind of cheats the damage numbers. But either way, like, you end up doing a lot of damage on this hero. You have a lot of healing, you have a lot of utility, right? Check the net worth charts. I was never like bottom. Like I wasn't like this Coddle, right? I was double this Coddle's net worth, or almost double this Coddle's net worth, right? Like this hero, you know, he's safe enough as a support that when you go in, you don't necessarily have to constantly die. And that's another cool thing about him, is that you can play like a howitzer, like super far back, and just use your insane impact abilities, which hopefully I did a decent job of demonstrating that game. So yeah, anyways, by far my longest video. I'm sorry about it. We're nearing 2 hours at this point. So yeah, really, really sorry about that. One day I will get an editor, or I will learn to edit myself, and I already know how to edit. I have that Camtasia program, but one day I will finally trim some of these videos down into a more palatable size. But for now, you're just gonna have to watch my videos on 2x speed and try to gather whatever informational content you can. And if you stuck along this long, if you stuck around long enough to the end of the video, I would like you to say potato with some other comment, maybe pertaining to the video substance, in the comment section, just so I know that there's at least somebody out there that's watching my videos through to completion, because I never really know that kind of shit. But either way, regardless of all of that, I'm glad that you're here to watch me do this outro. I love you all. Thank you very much. Stay safe. Take care. I'll do more videos again in the future, I promise. I just really wanted to get this one out because I felt like I didn't do the hero justice in terms of talking about his specific kit yesterday when I did the Oracle replay analysis yesterday. I felt like I just mostly covered general support shit. So hopefully this game was a little bit more in depth for people that wanted to learn the hero. And come watch my stream, twitch.tv/wireguitar. With no S, I do play this hero on stream whenever I play support. So anyways, yeah. Love you guys. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, and peace out.